Hey, hey, what's up? What's up? Damn, yo, nobody is here yet. Usually, when we turn this on, a couple of people are here, man. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We wanted to talk about certain things, one of which was our good friend, Stacy Abrams. I thought it'd be cool to talk about Stacy Abrams. Oh yeah, we got one person in the room. Yes. I gotta start being fashionably late to this. Can't be the first person to my own party. But there's a couple of things in the news, couple of things I saw online. Hey, I Sound Info, what's up? Manu12, how you feeling? Let me just let the family know that we're up in here. For people who don't know, I'm going to announce it on Twitter. Let the Twitter family know. And let's see. Yeah, just give me a second. Letting people know also, for people who have a preference for Twitch, we are on Twitch as well. People started following on Twitch, but it hasn't been like the main place people go. People still prefer YouTube, but I want to use Twitch more, and I'll tell you why, man. Twitch seems like you can get away with streaming a lot more stuff when it comes to copyright. You know what I mean? I feel like with Twitch, people be streaming all types of crazy stuff and they don't get any strikes. Whereas here, man, you get strikes on YouTube. You get strikes for everything you do. It doesn't matter what you do. Oh, there we go, man. Everybody's in the room now. What's up, B Scott? How you feeling? EOJ, how you feeling, man? BC, stand out without handouts. I don't know why I laugh every time I see that. Manu12, Outlaw. Yakub, how you feeling? KCast, Khalid Saeed. Yeah, man. I want to talk about. Your Jay said, "Are you going to talk about how Stacey Abrams self-immolated herself for a racist sexual predator?" That's a good word, self-immolated. That is a very, very good word. Stacey Abrams is definitely like a Tumblr weirdo gone political. Like, she's got that social justice influencer. Like, she's got that kind of Arrested Development Tumblr vibe, like a lot of these. She reminds me a lot of Roxane Gay in that respect. Roxane Gay kind of has that big kid vibe, but there's something, very Tumblr-y, GM Playfair, how you feeling? How's everything going? But yeah, I mean, this lady has been like somebody put something on Twitter, right? And I was before saying we had that episode where I talked about bullshit and lying and how like selling out is what liars do. Like a liar has to believe in the truth and then betray it, whereas a bullshitter, they don't really have to believe in the truth. They just have to say whatever they need to say to get the job done. And if it's true, fine. If it's not true, that's also fine. As long as I can sell you on what I want to sell you, which is usually something about myself, right? She's definitely like a climber. The more I've learned about her, the more disturbing it's been, right? And people I know from Georgia, they tell me all types of messed up stuff about her, and and a big clue is she's into like young adult, and I don't think anything is wrong with liking young adult stuff or reading young adult stuff. But when you're an adult, young adult stan, a lot of that stuff disturbs me. And I also think being liking a young adult book or being into young adult now is way different post Twilight, post Harry Potter than it was back in the day. Like, this is not Ramona and Beezus and those type of books. Like, these are like, they're like what comic books have become, where they're like low key made for adults, but people pretended for kids. And like somebody tweeted once, it was such a good tweet. They said, it's time for the family reunion where I get to talk to my brightest nieces and my stupidest aunts about their favorite new young adult franchise, and Stacey Abrams is a young adult author. She writes young adult stuff, and so she actually writes it, So yeah, I said before, like, what a lot of these people are, they shouldn't be called sellouts because you have to believe in something to be a sellout. Like, selling out is like lying. Like, I believe or I claim to believe this, and now I'm doing the opposite. Whereas what these people do is bullshit. They just change what they profess to believe as the wind blows, and they just will move goalposts and bullshits. And I realize they're the Stacey Abrams of the world. They're not sellouts. They're buy-ins. That should be the new word. Like someone said bootlick, and I felt like bootlick is in the right neighborhood, and it can be used like interchangeably. But I think buy-in is a good word. Like, there are sellouts and buy-ins, and a buy-in is just all they're doing is just going whole. They're jumping in with both feet. They're not, they buy in. Period. And also, Stacey Abrams' favorite book is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, and she claims that it's because it's like the aspirational part of it and stuff, and that's just creepy in and of itself. And she's done all types of messed up stuff, like get people who know her in Georgia say like she spends more time meeting with the Republicans and the opposition than with her own side. And she's someone who's always trying to be conciliatory or cozy up to people. And that reminds me very much of Bill Clinton and Obama, like when your biggest strength is reaching across the aisle, that's always a bad sign. That's that West Wing thinking. Yeah, that's hold on. This is Malcolm Thompson said you cannot be a sellout if you don't have anything to sell. But I like this from if Obama had dreams from my father, her as a young adult person has dreams from my diary, but yeah, she's done all types of fucked up stuff, and we're gonna talk about it today. But this would be a good place to start. First off, a lot of these people, they just like that she's black. A lot of these centrist liberals and stuff like that she's black. But this is a big reason why I thought she was never going. There are two big reasons why I think she was never going to win the Biden nomination. I will be very shocked if she does. But these are the two big reasons why I never thought she would. Right? One, black people, especially the boomers, with their Obama fetishizations, refusal to accept that Obama didn't do anything except be black and have a black family and, be respectable. Like Obama is that respectability politics black person's dream, and boomers love that respectability politics, and boomers are the ones who vote, right? They already shown that they're all in for Biden, Jim Crow Joe, based on nothing, based on just the fact that he was Biden's running mate, they're in on all that just for that. They think he did something for them just off of that. So what do they care? Like why did you have a black VP on top of that? Like to get what? It's not necessary. Um, Plus, yeah, it's just unnecessary. He has the black vote locked, so that's not the reason why he doesn't either. Number two, and this is something like a lot of these intersectional feminist types and all these people, a lot of them like to believe they have some kind of kinship with white women, that we're all in this together, and it's not like that. Like, these white women from the Susan B. Anthony days were very competitive, not just with black women but black men. Like those Pumas, those Hillary Clinton fans who were waging war on Barack Obama, because they thought it was a white woman's turn, not a black man's. Puma stands for Party Unity, my ass. There were a bunch of white women who were like, we are not going to support Obama now that he has the nomination, right? And it was the same way, but like the way those white women back in the days were maligning, I think it was Susan B. Anthony, maligning Frederick Douglass and black men, because they were going to get the vote before white women did. And they were trying to use black women, to help them get the vote over black men and play divide and conquer, right? But here's the thing: as much as a lot of white women act competitive with black men and kind of gas up black women to hate on black men so that they can side with the white women, deep down, a lot of these white women are just as competitive, if not more, with black women. When they don't need them for something and now they have to directly compete with them on something, they show their true colors a lot. And that's why I think they don't want, it's bad enough a black man got into the White House before them. If a black woman gets into the White House before them, even the VP slot, they're gonna really dislike it. Like, I'll give you a great example, of how this works, because a lot of intersectional feminists think, hey, I'm black, I'm a woman, I can't choose between either one. I'm equally black, I'm equally woman. Whereas white women don't really have that conflict. Like, white women are like Animal Farm. Like, hey, we're all women, but some women are more women than others. They don't take wins by black women as wins for women, really, unless they can get some kind of secondhand shine off of it, or if it's after they've already paved that way. And I'll give a great example. The first self-made black millionaire, right? How many of you in the chat know who the first self-made black millionaire is? Or at least what the legend is. There's dispute as to if this is the first self-made, right? But yeah, yes. So Madam C.J. Walker, that's right. I mean, some people say it's someone else, like her mentor, but yeah, C.J. Walker. Like, but what's crazy about C.J. Walker, right? I keep seeing her mentioned as the first self-made black millionaire, the first black millionaire, and some people say it's actually her mentor. I forget her mentor's name, but they say that she was actually the first one. But yeah, I mean, it's the hair care lady. Now, how many of y'all know, without having to Google or whatever, who is the first woman self-made millionaire? And a lot of people, if you think about it, it might snap and come to you because you might intuit, oh, maybe it's CJ Walker too. But you ever notice white women don't claim her? White women never say, oh man, let's celebrate CJ Walker. She was the first woman millionaire. She was the first self-made woman millionaire. They don't really think about her as one of them, really. Think about that. Why is she always called the first black millionaire or the first black woman millionaire? See, someone said, I don't know, to be honest. Gold link, when I said, who's the first woman? It's Madam C.J. Walker. And these intersectional feminists, they love saying, oh, I can't choose between my race or my gender. And it's like, Society chooses for you in a million little ways all the time. If you read the tea leaves, if you just fucking pay attention, they look at you as black. That's what they look at you as. Yeah, you don't go to all these female events and female functions. How come Shorty Chisholm doesn't really get talked about by white women when they're talking about trailblazers in politics? They'll be acting like Geraldine Ferraro and Hillary Clinton were like the first two to really run. Yeah, yeah. Um, Sly says there has to be a female slave owner who had more than 1 million slaves. Yeah, but she wouldn't have been self-made. There were black actually millionaires that people argue were millionaires before C.J. Walker too, but they had inherited somehow. There's a black slave owner they say is, but as far as being self-made, like no inheritance just came from nothing. I believe we see the C.J. Walker or one or two other people disputed, but it's just interesting. White women don't celebrate her for all this talk that they give black women about we're both team woman and team white and we play both sides. You have to play both sides too. It's equal, but they don't count it unless it's white. And that's what I'm saying. So with that in mind, that's how these women think. So if he puts a black woman into the White House, even as his VP, over a white woman, I think it's gonna go over bad with white women. It's gonna be the second insult to them, and I think he's gotta know that. I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe it'll happen. I think the closest he might come is what I call a POC Karen. Like a POC Karen is like a woman of color that somehow registers almost like a Karen to white women, and I think, for example, like Kamala Harris somehow gives a lot of white women some Hillary energy. I feel like Kamala Harris doesn't really she has it both ways. She can play the black card. It's kind of unconvincingly because black people weren't really, buying into her. But I feel like white women on some level feel her as one of their own to a degree. So I think if he does pick a quote unquote black woman, a woman of color, it'll be Kamala Harris. I think the other one is Klobuchar, So it's like yeah, for those two reasons, one, that he's got the black vote sewn up, and two, as a black woman, she doesn't really work as a female first. White women don't count black women as female first, really. They this guy in Cumtown, the podcast, was saying that how he wished that a black woman gets a nomination for president next, so that white women will be forced to be put on the spot and admit they don't see it as a win, or have to cheer kind of, yeah, but they're not really going to be feeling it. TW said, love the podcast and live stream. Thank you. Yes. So that's that. But let's look at how she showed her ass most recently. And I have a whole bunch of windows and stuff up, and hopefully none of this stuff will get T said, to be completely frank, this thing is, T said, to be completely frank, other variable is that Abrams is obese. Yes, if she was white. White women and white people in general, they don't mind black women obese because white women don't want that have to trot Jezebel stereotype energy around a lot. They have a mixed feeling to it. Like, if you ever look at how they treat fat black women, look at Rebel Wilson versus a Lizzo, and Rebel Wilson is just basically like a clown. They put up Lizzo, like Lizzo's kind of like they let her play herself up as a mammy. Like what's what's her name? Azalea Banks called her a millennial mammy, which was mean spirited, but it is true. She taps into that mammy energy, and America loves mammies. It's really important to understand. Like, I mean, a lot of a lot of white people have fond memories of mammies, from slave times, and even after slave times, a lot of people had black nannies. Mammies and nannies are very similar. I mean, change the M to an N, and like, no, that's your nanny. A lot of them had like nannies. I think the nannies were kind of like a racial memory too, And Mammy 1 2 says something great. Mammy knows her place. Yeah, that is very non-threatening. The mammy, So I think for a black woman, that's what Oprah tapped into. Oprah was like the Gen X mammy, and she was tapping into that mammy energy. And 2008 B. Scott predicted where I was going next. She said, didn't they try to put a sculpture in a museum in DC one time? No, it was a sculpture, a statue that we were going to put in like the plaza, the Mammy Memorial, right? The Mammy Memorial is crazy. For people interested, just Google the Mammy Memorial. And the Mammy Memorial is some crazy stuff. This is how much America missed mammies. They love mammies. But I'll put it on now. I've done a bunch of research into the Mammy Memorial. I've found the blueprints and everything. This was a big subject. I've talked about it on the podcast before. Hey, also, hey, yo, the people. I just want to mention this. Go to Twitch too. For people who like Twitch, follow on Twitch. Yeah. So for people, definitely follow me on there too. Someone said Oprah as a mammy, but not a leader, though. Two different things. They don't care because VP is not. People think of VP as a mascot. To be honest, let's be real. And also I think being a leader, I don't think they care. If she's fat, I don't think. Not if she's black. Precious, remember Precious? Like a white Precious, I don't think would happen really. But they were putting that woman on. They were putting that woman on magazine covers. What's her name? Gabby Sidibe. They put her in these magazine covers, which is made to be a sex symbol, and they put her next to a bunch of hot young white women. I forget which cover it was, but they always, if anybody remembers, it might have been Vogue, it might have been Cosmopolitan, but it was all these skinny women, and then it was her. And that was part of the joke. Like they put her there next to the skinny white woman, and that's kind of like, oh, you guys want diversity? Here's your diversity. I'm gonna give you another example. This is one. This is a great example. I just remember this one. This is a great example. Let me hold off on this real quick. I'm gonna show something else instead. So peep this. Ole Miss, which is in Mississippi, is an old university. It's called Ole Miss, and it's known for being a very kind of old school racist institution historically in the South and everything. Yeah, they're being accused of being racist. So they were asked to put, to change things. So then what did they do? They a couple years ago made some news because they had this lady, Courtney Pearson, first African American to be elected homecoming queen at UM. And like, let me just be clear, I'm not bashing her. I'm not saying she's not attractive or anything, but I'm just trying to describe what's going through their mind. Why did they got to a lot of backlash over this? Because a lot of people thought it was kind of like um a joke. Do you remember the movie Carrie where they elect her homecoming queen, but it's the joke. They're all in on it. Like it's the fact that she's kind of an outcast or a lame that makes it funny. They're all in on the joke but her, and she thinks it's real. That's kind of like what it is, right? So they went. This is not a good picture. Let me see if I can find a better version so I can get across what I'm trying to. I'm trying to find one with a picture. Just give me a second. So okay, I think I might have found one. Okay, so you get to see her picture here and everything, right? And you see her picture there, and it's like a inside joke that they had. So let's see. I wasn't planning to talk about this. It was just the chat that brought this to mind. So I wasn't prepared. So just bear with me a second. Okay, I'm gonna put it on the screen. But this is like needy fun in a sense, like white people, they make jokes where the punchline can come years after the fact. Like, they do their jokes on like a meta level. They don't just go for the easy 1-2 punchline. Like, and you have to understand that the sense of humor, like their jokes can take like years to play out, right? So Ole Miss crowns these damn ads. How do I get this damn ad off? Okay, yeah. Ole Miss crowns first. Look at all this stuff. You can't even read anything without a million ads popping up. I cannot wait till the internet evolves past this ad-based system. Kind of side note, look at this. Look at how freaking busy the internet is. How many ads are on this thing? Look, look at this garbage. It's like, okay, that looks a little bit better. So 50 years ago, Courtney Roxanne Pearson would not have been allowed to enroll at the University of Mississippi because she was black, let alone think of becoming the first African American homecoming queen of Ole Miss. But today, the 21-year-old senior English education student from Memphis is preparing for her historic crowning during the halftime ceremonies. Yeah, I am still in shock, but I'm definitely very excited, says Pearson, who beat Ashley Davis for the chance to wear the crown. 1477 votes to 1387 votes. And you got to think about it. A lot of white women would be comfortable voting for her too, over like some Rihanna looking girl. So, and I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. I'm not insulting her. I'm not saying that I think she's unattractive or whatever. I'm trying say it from their viewpoint, like that is part of the joke. Like this is the same punchline with Lizzo. This is the same punchline when they put when they make Gabby Sidibe dressed as a sex symbol and then put around a bunch of skinny white women. It's like so she's like, it couldn't have come at a better time, added Pearson, who considers her victory a landmark for Ole Miss, which commemorated the 50th anniversary of the admission of James Meredith, their first African-American student, which started rioting. So, they're driving her in this big thing, and these old white men with the pot bellies are looking and stuff. And, it's, they made her, she brought her father came out to escort her, and it's like, pleased but stunned to have won the race, Pearson spoke out about how she bucked the trend in winning the crowd as an African American. And like, we do have a typical tradition in that the person is usually Greek and that person is usually white. Pearson's to WDAM, and she's really going for it. Now, here's the woman that she beat. And this woman is way more conventionally attractive. I'm not saying actually attractive. Like I find her attractive. She looks very state fair type of pretty to me, like that beauty pageant type of country fair and eating pie kind of thing. But by the American standards, that's whatever. She's more of what they traditionally like. So if you notice, like the white woman, they did not she's not anywhere in the same type of weight range or looks of the other one. That's why I think it's part of the joke. And she's kind of running with it. She's like, now the students are saying, not only do we want you to attend, we want you to represent us as a whole and go and show the whole world what we're about and what we represent. Which makes me think also her personality is part of it too. Like she is just running with it and throwing all these extras and making these people into all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like she's really throwing extras on this, and I don't know if she really believes it or what, but that they probably know she's like that, and that makes it even funnier to see her take it that far. And that's why I'm thinking, like, Stacey Abrams' way, it's not going to be a problem. They don't really mind that. The white women will mind it because it will be a first. So fat black women or not, they want that landmark for themselves. They will never get that back. Even if they win the next 20 vice presidencies or presidencies, they'll never get back being the first woman in the White House, white women, and yeah, so it's like the way she took it to heart, and it's kind of a shame too, because like, what would you do if you're her father? If you're her father, you're gonna, and she's so happy about it, you're gonna tell her, hey, daughter, I think they're playing you. It's like, plus, if she thinks that way already and she's not hip to the game, that probably says a lot about him anyway, and how he raised her, and yeah, I mean, I don't think she's unattractive. People are debating in the chat room. I don't think she's unattractive. Even if whether or not she's attractive to me, I don't think she's unattractive. Same with the other one that I said. It looks like that state fair beauty pageant hometown hero girl. Like, that's not really my cup of tea with those beauty pageant teeth. But I'm not gonna say because it's not my cup of tea that she's not attractive. I can see people liking both of them, but I do think one is more conventionally pretty by the standards of that school and that part of the South and American white cracker society than the other. Yeah, so someone said Revolution said this is a great thing to say, right? I would definitely holler. She's not ugly. It's just that she big. A lot of black women would like her. I'll tell you the truth. A lot of white men would like her. A lot of white guys, they may not claim girls like that, or they may try to clown them in public and stuff. But a lot of white guys, don't let them lie to you. They like girls just that big. Um, a lot of black women internalize that white men don't find them attractive and stuff, but a lot of them do. A lot of them are uncomfortable that they find that attractive. But like there was this big big woman, this author, this black woman who wrote a story about how she was the victim of a bet where she had a one night stand with this white guy, and then he ghosted her, and then later on his friend wrote to her. He felt really bad, and he's like, "I want to tell you the truth. It was a bet. Like, a bunch of us did a bet that he wouldn't uh, have sex with like a big black woman, and all this stuff came about how white men don't find black women attractive. It's so hard for black women. True to form, somehow became a blame black men party. Somehow black men were blamed for what the white men did. It was weird by the woman who was used by these people. But I mean, let's be clear, man. And this is something I learned from going to college with white people, and I started noticing it, especially if you're by yourself and in the room and you sat in the back. The first time I noticed it, I was in a classroom. I remember once, and I was in the back row. And sometimes, like white people just don't notice you. Sometimes, so I remember there was this girl, Kenyatta, this black girl in the class, and her name was Kenyatta. She was from Buffalo. She had like the poetic justice braids. She was not like a Jasmine Guy or a Lisa Bonet or a Beyonce looking. I mean, she was like a sister girl, you know? And there were these two or three frat boys. Like she came in and they were like nudging each other and like pointing at her, and she looked blackety black, and that was the first time I was like, yo, I've never like I believe the hype, because white guys make a big production about not liking black girls or not liking black girls like that, or they gotta be like Lisa Bonet or Janet Jackson, and you'd be surprised, man. They like that stuff, and that's why I think that guy who did that bet to have sex with that girl, he just wanted an excuse to do it, and he made the bet up as like he needed a cover story for to rationalize being attracted to her and having sex with her. And because if you really don't want to have sex with somebody, why are you gonna seek out a bet? Really, if something really really disgusts you, would you really seek out a bet to do it and to have sex with it? You know what I mean? Like he wanted to do it and have like a cover story he could tell for why he wanted to do it. Sly said, and I believe this, he was probably hurt and he couldn't do it again. He was probably hurt and he couldn't. Yeah, I'm sure he was. That's why I feel so bad for like a lot of black women who believe a lot of this stuff that these men don't find them attractive. Like I think what they should lament is that a lot of these men can't own it. Because I think that's something true. A lot of them can't own it and they rationalize it away. But this idea that white men don't find them attractive when they're dark and when they're big, I think is one of the biggest lies out there. But yeah, I forgot what I was going. But there's and the way the media covered it was so corny. The Ole Miss thing. Let me show you the Ole Miss thing. The way the media covered it was so corny. They had, by the title of this, they definitely got Blavity Black to write this, like a Blavity BuzzFeed Black. maybe not. Maybe it's a white liberal. I don't know. But This Week in Black Awesomeness. This is a column. I don't know if this is a weekly column that they still have or they were doing it at the time, but This Week in Black Awesomeness. So they put Ole Miss first Black homecoming queen. Second is Chinua Achebe's new book. I like that the priorities are straight there. And then he put this picture there. This guy here and driving is probably cracking up in his head. But They had her talk with CNN's Don Lemon about her win and what it says about race relations at Ole Miss. And then the story adds, after so many African American candidates had been passed up for the title, Pearson said she believed the student body was growing and progressing, learning to look at character instead of skin color. She's also a curvy woman, breaking not only racial boundaries, but bringing some body diversity to Ole Miss's homecoming court. So awesome. And that's something they do. It's something white people do a lot, right? When it's time to kind of take an L for diversity, they use the Black person as the fall guy. And I'll give you an example, right? So it's like they want to break body diversity, but a place like Ole Miss, Old South, land of Scarlett O'Hara and the Southern Belle and all that stuff, like to put a fat white homecoming queen, I think would kind of register as a disgrace of the race. Like, we're regressing. But to put a mammy up there, that brings back the glory days of the South, of what they think were the good old days of the South, right? But I'll give you another example, right? When Disney wanted a woman to be the head of Star Wars, to be like the hero, right? Who became the guy? A Black guy, Finn. So when it's time for the Black guy to be the second banana, or when it's time for a guy to be a second banana, or a damsel in distress to the woman, and now the woman now you're gonna subvert the trope. Suddenly it's like, well, we're at it. Let's put the Black guy there, and it's like they think they're being slick, but the reason they put the Black guy there is they don't want that image of the white guy being weak to like if they put a white guy doing Finn's role, it would be horrible. Do you notice after that movie came out, all those chuds who supposedly hated the idea there was going to be a Black stormtrooper suddenly got over it? They stopped talking about it. In fact, a lot of those reactionary white guys love Finn. All that stuff disappeared. And it's because they realized, oh, wait a minute, he's not gonna actually be a sexual threat, sexual replacement, or a real dude. Like, hey, like a white woman being better than that. Oh, TW, B-Lo in the house. Yes, what's going on? Went to UB. How you feeling? Yeah, they were fine. They were fine with it, and they know what they're doing. But they do that a lot. If you ever noticed, a lot of these shows now, their big thing to do for the feminist shows is have the white woman with a Black male sidekick, or the Black guy. And Malcolm Thompson said it straight. They said, great point, playing the eunuch, and that's exactly what they do. And it's like it's two birds with one stone, because you get to have also a reminder of white male superiority. And it's like even though she did beat up Kylo Ren still had the cool mask, the badass lightsaber and stuff like that. He still was I think better than Finn. What was he still able to do? He was still able to assert his manhood over Finn at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Finn was the bottom of the totem pole, and plus he wasn't, because Kylo Ren was the bad guy. It's not so bad that he loses, even to the woman in a way, because it's still he wasn't supposed to be the hero anyway, But yeah, so it's like a big joke, and then he doesn't even become the love interest. The bad guy becomes a love interest anyway. Like after all that, they give him to an Asian girl he has no chemistry with, the second one, and then the third one they even throw that away. and toss that to the side. The thing was, but the Mammy Memorial. I want to get back to Harrison Prince said sport is motherfucker, dude. That thing's so old, man. If you haven't seen it yet, man, you know, I just gonna boot you from the chat for that. Think sport is the Star Wars, man. This made like $1 billion, bro, and been out since 2000. I know Harrison Prince is joking, but you know, yeah. He was that movie was horrible. Yeah. Let's see. I want to find the thing for the Mammy Memorial again, because the Mammy Memorial is okay. Here we go. The Mammy Memorial. The Mammy Washington almost had. In 1923, the U.S. Senate approved a new monument in D.C., and the quotation was, "In memory of the faithful slave mammies of the South." If I say the word mammy, you're likely to conjure up the character from Gone with the Wind, or you may think of Aunt Jemima in a trademark handkerchief beaming from boxes of pancake mix. What you probably won't picture is a master slave woman hewn from stone, cradling a white child atop a plinth in the nation's capital. Yet in 1923, the U.S. Senate authorized such a statue in memory of, quote, the faithful slave mammies of the South. So it's called the faithful slave mammies. And that's one of the things that they like to think, that the mammies wanted to be there and they were faithful, and they really believe the mammies would rather be there raising the white kids than home with their own kids, you know? And it continues with the nannies too. Like, the movie The Help was like that. Like they really believe that these maids and nannies really had some kind of deep attachment to the white children, and that, you know, there was a real connection there. Like, that's a movie that describes white feminists and Karens like so perfectly. Like how they believe that these working class white women, black women, loved them and, you know, supported them. Like, you know, you was special. You was man. I want to put this up, but every time I put something up, it gets. I think if I break it up, it won't be so bad. But I'm gonna put that help you special thing. I think if I break it up, it'll but let's stick to this. I'll show that after. As a Southern congresswoman stated in support of the monument, the traveler, as he passes by, will recall the epic of Southern civilization when fidelity and loyalty prevailed. No class of any race of people held in bondage could be found anywhere who lived more free from care or distress. This is on the Congress floor when they were debating the statue. Today, it seems incredible that Congress sanctioned a monument to so-called faithful slaves just blocks from the Lincoln Memorial, which had been dedicated only months earlier. But the monument to the great emancipator masked the nation's retreat from the new birth of freedom. This is just after Birth of a Nation was screened at the White House, and Woodrow Wilson had recently segregated federal facilities. And so, like, it was not as progressive in the 1920s as people might think, you know. Blackface was still popular, and Aunt Jemima and all of these minstrel shows were really big. So it's not that crazy, but the lost cause of Confederacy was a big deal back then too. And the ladies of the United Daughters of the Confederacy even ghost wrote testimonials such as "What Mammy Thinks of Freedom," in which an ex-slave says, "When I gets to heaven, Lord, I hope I find it slavery." So they were saying, like, they hope, like, they hate freedom so much that they hope when they get to heaven has slavery again, so they can go back to slavery. That's how much white people think mammies are in the corner, or how, or you know, what they really like. This is something. Look up this is what Ice on Info says. Damn the audacity. Remind me again of how the South supposedly lost the Civil War, y'all should look up the term "lost cause" movies or "lost cause" propaganda. America, even Hollywood in the South, and New York in the North with their Broadway plays, there have been more movies and plays romanticizing the Confederacy than the Union, to the point you wouldn't even know that the Confederacy were the traitors or the defectors. You know what I mean? Like if you ever watch Gone with the Wind, it's like that was like the biggest money making classic movie ever, and it's just a love letter to the Confederacy. They actually make the North look bad. There's a lot. The Lost Cause of the Confederacy, it's a real thing. They romanticize. America views the Confederacy as the more romantic side of the war. Plantations, mint juleps, when men were men. They don't really romanticize the Union like that. Not really. Um, this reactionary crusade culminated in the United Daughters of the Confederacy campaign to build monuments to slaves who remained faithful out of love of masters, mistresses, and their children. Initially, this effort was confined to the South, but Black migration to the North, race riots, and growing anxiety about what whites called the Negro problem made the nation more receptive to Southern images of bygone racial order. So did the ubiquity of nurturing mammies in popular culture. Mammy was appealing at a specifically fraught time in national history, says Mickey McKellia, a historian of University of Connecticut and author of Clinging to Mammy, The Faithful Slave in 20th Century America. Mammy represents paternalism and affection between the races, a world where everyone understands their places. And I'm planning to have her on. I have that book. So Charles Stedman, North Carolina congressman, in 1923 introduced the Mammy Monument Bill on behalf of Jefferson Davis chapter of the United Daughters of the Confederacy. And this is what Stedman said. They desired no change. They desired no change in their condition of life, Stedman said of the faithful slaves who would be honored. The very few who are left look back at those days as the happy golden hours of their lives. He's saying the slaves are still surviving. In 1920, they still had some people who were born in slavery back then. Stedman added that the bill should find a responsive echo in the hearts of the citizens of this great republic. And the Senate voted for the land grant for it, right? The next day, Washington Post printed a 2-paragraph item, noted that Senate had approved 3 monuments, one to quote-unquote former district commissioner, one to baseball, and another to, quote, faithful colored mammies. And this is something, and one thing that people like to do, this is boomers in general. Boomers like to think everything ever started with them, but the NAACP used to protest and shut down a lot of things. People don't understand how much activism was going on back in the old days. Like people think Black people just shuffling their feet and staying quiet until like Martin Luther King, but the NAACP and like Black protests everywhere, they shut this thing down. If it didn't happen, and that's something Black people do a lot. Like civil rights generation loves to act like they started, fighting for rights and stuff and protesting. And the Black Lives Matter thing, people love having those shirts that say we are not our grandparents and stuff. But Black people have been shutting stuff down for a long time in this country. And this is one of the things that they shut down. So the Black press, because there used to be a booming Black press at the time, and New Civil Rights Group, they fought against it. And one NAACP official wrote the Washington Star to say, "My own beloved mother was one of those unfortunates who had the flower of her youth spent in a slave cabin." And he described the Mammy statue as, quote, a symbol of our servitude to remind white and Black alike that the menial callings are our place. And then he added, if the South had such a deep gratitude for the virtues of this devoted group from which it reaped vast riches, let it remove the numberless barriers it has gone out of its way to throw up against the progress of Blacks. So just weeks before they approved the Mammy Monument, just weeks before, the South had just filibustered to defeat an anti-lynching bill. So at the same time that Congress is striking down anti-lynching bills. They're promoting pro-mammy memorials. Like this is where I want to give you an idea of how deeply ingrained the mammy is in the white psyche. They have a very affectionate idea of the mammy. And if you look at freaking Gone with the Wind, Gone with the Wind is the most boring movie ever. I'm not saying that because it has a bad message. Like to give an example, Birth of a Nation is like a heinously racist movie, but I'm the kind of person that a movie is artistically good, I can admit it. And Birth of a Nation, especially if you're into silent movies, if you look at the silent movies that came out around Birth of a Nation and then compare Birth of a Nation is a very innovative movie for its time. What they were doing with camera tracking shots and narrative, long form narrative and things like that, it was a legitimately artistically advanced movie. It's just racist and heinous as hell. Like Gone with the Wind is just not good. Like I'm not saying that because it's I don't like the messaging, it's because I think Birth of a Nation actually has worse messaging. It's just craft wise, I think it's just the nostalgia for slavery that and lost masculinity that really drives the high regard of that movie. It's bloated, over long, 3 hours for no good reason. No story. It doesn't even have it just ends like mid-story. Like it's just drones on. Just no one likable or interesting. It's just terrible. But it's just full of that lost cause propaganda. It's horrible. So there were a lot of political cartoons by black newspapers against it, activists and protesters fighting it. One of the black papers suggested that a better monument would be to White Daddy sexually assaulting a young black woman as Mammy looks helplessly on, like as in tell the true story, like of what was happening back then. So the actual sculptor's model, they had gone as far as to make sculptor's models. I've found these models before. I've searched them out, and so they got as far as like the artist rendition. I might be able to find it because I found it in the past before. Because I wasn't planning to talk about this today, I didn't have it ready, but you can probably find it. Oh yeah, I think I found it. I'm going to this is one of the pictures, and let me put it up real quick. I'm going to take a break from the article to put up the picture. But yeah, they did a mock-up of it and everything. I'm going to show it to you now. Just give me a second, y'all. There it goes. That's the faithful mammies of the South statue. And you see Mammy Your Mind on the bottom there, right? So you can see how it's going to look. That was going to be, so picture right by the Lincoln Memorial, this statue being there. That's what was going to happen. We could have had that, to this day, if the people of the time didn't protest. And people think, oh, it's crazy to think that'll happen, but we have Mrs. Butterworth bottles and Aunt Jemima boxes and Uncle Ben. It's not. We still have it today. They just give Aunt Jemima a perm and gave her a new backstory, but it's still there. And this is what Oprah, I think, taps into. This is what Lizzo taps into. Like, they like the fat, sassy mammy that still has love for. And if you look, and something you'll notice too, right? If you look at a lot of old movies and propaganda with the mammies kind of got away with a lot. the white people humor them a lot. They would let them talk back and sass a little bit, you know. But it was part of the fun. It was part of the joke. And um, I'm gonna show y'all something else. I've shown this before, but in light of everything that I've said, in light of everything that I've said, it puts a lot of other things in context, right? So let me see if I could let me see if I could find it again. Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna show y'all something else that I've shown you guys before. This is from Gone with the Wind. And like I said, I've shown this is it working? Oh, hold on a second. Here it is. Here it is. So peep this. So these black guys are dancing and stuff, and Mammy just shoves them aside so that the white woman can come through. That's what they view the role of their modern day mammies to be. It's on loop, so you can just look at it over and over. But you see that black guys are shuffling around, no slavery to keep them in line, and the mammy who refuses to leave Scarlet. This is after slavery's over, but her loyalty is not to black people, and the free black people are looked at as bad. This is what they do. They just loaf off, and see how they're dressing up and think that they're like human beings, you know, and she has to kind of chastise them and correct them. But you know, she's sticking around. She's chosen the white people. This is why they want the statue up. This is the romantic image, and it doesn't just automatically end with slavery. Like even in freedom, this is how they view their nannies, you know. So that's why other stuff happens. Like I've never seen this movie, but I know of this scene. Wish I could find it. And I'm gonna have to be careful with this because everything gets me a copyright strike, right? But I notice other people show crazy amounts of movies, so I think I just have to like break it up and you know talk about a lot of stuff, and then it'll be okay. I could say fair use and stuff, but I want to show y'all this from The Help, and this is not technically about slaves. This is about nannies, not mammies, nannies. Just change the M to an N, but keep in mind too that this movie came out in the 2000s. You know, so it doesn't really get the excuse that Gone with the Wind does. But what Neely Fuller always says is that there's three parts of white supremacy. There's the establishment stage, the enforcement stage, and the refinement stage. I think that's what he said. And we're in the refinement stage. Refinement stage means you keep the same thing, but you just refine it. So like now a Mammy Memorial is gonna set off too many alarms, but you can have a scene like and a Mammy character like Gone with the Wind that's too coarse, that's too obvious, that's too crude, but you can refine it and make this scene in The Help, and suddenly you can get away with it. And I'll show the scene, and I'll keep breaking it up so that hopefully it won't cause a problem. I hope I remember to put the sound on, but here we go.
You is kind, you is
Smart, you is important. So you see that? Like that's the same thing that was going on with let me take up the screen for a little bit. I gotta like get in and out. Like that's the same thing that was going on with Mammy slapping away the black guys to let the white ladies through. Like, you know, this idea that she's on her side, that's she nurtures her, um let's go back to it. I'm gonna have to dip in and out to not get those copyright strikes.
You is smart. You is kind. You is important. Oh, that's so
So look, the white mother is mistreating her, and that black mammy has like the empathy and whatever. Now, keep in mind, this was a hit movie. Who's this fantasy for? This fantasy is not for black people, really. I mean, even though some black people are clueless enough to like this, God help them. But this is like for white women. This is a popular white novel. That's that same mammy memorials that a South mindset. Like they look like a lot of these white people hate their parents. They hate their parents, but they remember the nanny fondly. There was that storyline kind of in Mad Men, for example. Like Betty Draper is like horrible, but Carla is remembered fondly. And they talked about like different. There are nannies, which are basically modern mammies, all throughout Mad Men. If you watch Mad Men, I think Pete had one too. They mentioned them, some of their childhood. Betty's household has a black mammy, nanny / nanny in it too. Like her childhood home. Yeah. So it's like this is funny because it wasn't even what I planned to talk about, but because someone said Stacey Abrams' fatness will work against her, I want to make her understand the whole reason she got this far to be in the conversation is because she's fat, because she evokes this image. Like her fatness is what got her here. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Yeah, so yeah, that's very deliberate. It's not an accident, and we're gonna drop some more knowledge. I'm gonna drop some knowledge on y'all. Gonna drop some knowledge. So, you already saw the picture, right? I'm going back to the Atlantic article. There's no need to put it on the screen. I'll just read it. But the Atlantic article says, one sculptor's model showed an Aunt Jemima-like figure holding a white child as two other children clung to her dress. So if you look on the picture, there's two black kids hanging onto the dress, but she's holding the white kid, right? And the artist explained, this is a quote, these were pickaninnies. That's what the artist said, trying to have their mother pay attention to them instead of devoting all her time to the white children. So the mammy statue had two black babies hanging on the mammy's coattails, begging for attention that she was instead lavishing on the white kid. And that was meant to be a testament to how good the mammy was. That was part of what made her positive. So the statue was going to have the kids like it was meant to be shown as a strength of the mammy. First off, that the idea that it's true is not real. Like the mammy would have much rather be with her own kids, but part of the myth is that the mammy almost loved her kids, almost the white kids, more than her own kids and stuff. And like the idea that she not only loved in a way the white child more than she loved her own kids, but she loved the white child more than the parents. The white parents loved the white child, because I told you before, in the white imagination, white people are the people of reason, of intelligence, of rationality, of reason, and non-white people are where spirituality, emotionality, sensuality, as in connection with all the senses, connection with nature, connection with emotion comes from. So there's this idea of the white parent as being sterile or emotionally disconnected, but the black surrogate as the source of warmth. Um, yeah, yeah, this is true. Cannabis Sativa said white neo-libs will be relentless as Senator Nina Turner if she runs. She's a threat to white women, and she has a black husband and black kids. Yeah, Nina Turner is not a mammy, visually or in demeanor. So yeah, they're not going to like that. They want one of two things. They want a POC Karen like Kamala Harris, who's just basically like a power suit Hillary lean in type in blackface. Like they know deep down she's not convincingly connected to the black community. Even though they try to scold black people for not accepting her and stuff, they deep down know they like her because she's not. But the other extreme is they want straight up mammy, you know? Um, yeah, yeah. So this is deep. JG just dropped some knowledge. He said this is better than knowledge. This is knowledge. This counts as knowledge. Jay-Z said feminism is the new medium through which mammies are produced. Yeah, that's very true, man. Yeah, in that example, like, someone Sanders is a mammy. Like, you see how Hillary, you see how you see how um the big theme with the mammy is that they care about the white people more than they care about themselves, and more than even the white people's parents care about them, right? That's something that comes up a lot too. That comes up a lot too. Like I'm gonna let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna show something. There was something that happened that I'm trying to find, right? But um Joe Biden had an event a while ago, right? And at this event, um, Simone Sanders came came out. I'll just show the video. Let me just show the video real quick. So at this event, people, what happens? Simone Sanders just comes out like a linebacker and tackles somebody that got past security and does the physical labor. Like, they have bodyguards for that. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? What is all this? And it's on loop, so you can see it. Um, Someone said, SK Jackson said, if Master sick, we sick. Yeah, yeah. So it's on loop, but people, this little white girl breaks through and just goes in. And what's funny is a lot of like blabbity black types and blue checks and the people who really want to get put on with the Democratic Party and get put on with the system and stuff. They were all cheering this, like, oh my god, this way you gotta trust black women will save us. And it's like they're being neo-mammies, like when they encourage that narrative that it's black women's jobs to save everybody, um um and all that stuff, like that corny stuff. But what's what's her name? Here's another example. Um, there was another black woman who, and yeah, a lot of them were like, a lot of them will encourage. There was another recent event. Does anyone remember the event where somebody came on stage to comfort somebody? I forgot what it was. And the black woman on stage interviewing the person jumped out and like tackled. It was a full grown man. Um, Pretty sister. I think she's Haitian. She has short hair. She was interviewing somebody on stage when the protester came out. Anyone remember this? Anyone remember this? Because I want to find the video of this. Um, but yeah, it was some kind of event or panel, and this person, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it was very interesting how many of these like blue check black women were trying to praise it as a good thing. What this woman was forced to do, but fortunately, I cannot remember the other video of this woman who had to stop somebody from bum rushing the stage. I cannot remember it, unfortunately. Oh yeah, somebody found it. It was for Kamala Harris. Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember the name of the lady? Oh yeah, okay. Um, I I found it. I found it. Yeah, that's what it was. And this is why I say like Kamala Harris has a kind of a Karen energy. She in a lot of ways is viewed more like a white woman. I found it. Hold on. I totally found it. Just give me a second. I just got to put it up on the screen now. Yeah, but peep this. Look at all that. She just was it a man? I think it was a man. Yeah. It's a man. Like, why is she doing this? Like, she's doing like way too much, and Kamala Harris is just walking away. She's not backing her up or anything. Just have her like why is she, and all the men show up later, and then all these black women were like, yes, black girl magic, and it's like, no, that's not right. You should not have been put in that position to do that, and stop mammying. Like, stop. That's not your job to do that. Stop it. Stop um selling yourself as mammies. You're better than that. Don't do that. Like, and I wish I could find the tweets of all the people who were just praising that. It disturbed me. All the black women who were praising that, but there were all a certain type of black women. Like, there was a lot of sensible, normal black women who were like, "What's wrong with y'all?" But all the blue checks who hope to be on the stage in that woman's job, like those types, they were the ones who were all like, cheering, because that's why you need black women and stuff. Those like Zerlina Maxwell types. They Yeah. So, I'm gonna show y'all one more thing, to show y'all how deep, how heavy. Um, is anybody in here from Twitch? I feel like the Twitch action gets no. Oh, some stuff is happening on Twitch. I guess I just went to Twitch and there is stuff happening here. I thought the Twitch. I thought the Twitch comments were supposed to show up here in the same chat. I'm using StreamYard, and I thought Twitch chats would show up here, but apparently they're not. So everybody in Twitch, sorry I'm ignoring you. I did not mean to ignore you. I don't think I'm seeing y'all. If anybody in the chat rooms from Twitch, just type in like 1 in the comment. I just want to see if I'm seeing the Twitch people in here, because I think what's supposed to be happening, I'm supposed to be seeing YouTube and Twitch up in. Oh yeah, okay. I'm seeing the Twitch people. My bad. Yeah, y'all are in here. Okay, cool. All right, good. So I'm seeing everybody. Okay, so Twitch people have a different color than YouTube people. So that's what's happening. But both of y'all are here. Okay, cool. Yeah, and this is, see, man, Scandals is very interesting, because Scandal has the Jezebel and the Mammy in one. That's what makes Scandal brilliant. It has both. She's a Neo-Mammy, but she's also a Jezebel. That's what makes it really, really good, as far as what it taps into. But let me show you all something else too. This is I want to show you what the mammy means in the white imagination, right? And you know, I said like white people to white people, whiteness is about the intellect, about reason, and they view the downside to whiteness being being divorced from their sensuality, you know, being divorced from all the senses outside of vision, because vision is the sense attached to um, intellect, you know, but um, from being soulful, from being spiritual, that's what they that's what they view being white as, and that's why when they look at other races, they look at the other races to complete that lacking sensuality, that lacking empathy, whatever. So the the Asian guy is giving fortune cookie aphorisms. The uh, Asian woman is like, you know, sexually and empathetically awakening like the white GI and like things like Sayonara and the world of Susie Wong. The black person is like the magical Negro, like Bagger Vance. Like you don't often see like a black person come in and teach a white person math in a movie, you know? Um it doesn't really happen. Like if if a person of color is teaching something intellectual, they're teaching it to other people of color. So you get things like Stand and Deliver, where the Hispanic student is elevating the lesser primitives. Like the Hispanic teacher, Edward James Olmos, has gone into the white world and brought back knowledge to his people, to elevate his people. But um, the person of color does not elevate the white person intellectually. That's not the trope. What they do is they uh, fulfill something emotionally or spiritually or self-esteem missing from the white person. You know, that's what was happening in that the help clip. That's what's happening in um Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind, Mammy's always doing that for Scarlett, like giving her like wisdom. But the wisdom is like a wisdom that's of a primitive, noble savage type wisdom. A wisdom that comes from like the earth. It's not like she's not going to be a psychiatrist doing highly degree like psychiatric work with the white woman. She's going to be giving homespun wisdom, you know, things things like things like that. Yeah. So let me see if I can give an example. Yeah, folksy wisdom, but um when Aunt Jemima, like you gotta think about when Aunt Jemima first came out. First off, when she came out, she didn't look like the toned down one that they have now. The old Aunt Jemima looked insane. Google original Aunt Jemima. She looks very much like a slave. There's a book called Slave in the Box, and it talks about like the history of Aunt Jemima. And I'm gonna show you what the old Aunt Jemima ads were. This is what the old Aunt Jemima ads were. And I'm so glad that we got people on Twitch up in here. I'm glad we got this working. Um, Peep these commercials, and you know, tell me what you notice. I think these are public domain, so I don't think I have to worry about them doing copyright strikes. But you never know with YouTube. So these would be an Aunt Jemima variety show for people who don't know how radio used to work, right? They had radio shows. That's where like sponsors and commercials like first happened. But what would happen is one product would sponsor a whole show. It's not like now on TV where every commercial break you get like 6 advertisers. Like you would have like, you know, that's why soap operas are called soap operas. A soap company used to sponsor the whole show, and then every break they would take a break to talk about soaps. So it was an opera that was sponsored by soap. That's what they would call it, right? So there was the Aunt Jemima variety show. So the Aunt Jemima company would have a variety show, and all the ads would be for them on radio, and you can hear and these are the radio ads. But listen to the tropes that I've discussed in this episode and the last one, and you'll see how they come into play here.
Jemima. I wish I was on the top, oh, the top, not look away, look away. Smiling, happy Aunt Jemima, famous for her secret recipe pancakes, waffles, and buckwheat. What's your happy thought for today?
Well, Mr. Lion, folks says you can't buy happiness, but you can earn it.
Yes, Aunt Jemima, and I guess we all want to be happy. Smiling, happy Aunt Jemima, famous for her secret recipe pancakes, waffles, and buckwheat. Let's have one of your old-time sayings, Aunt Jemima.
Well, here's a true word, Mr. Lion. The happiest folks don't measure time by years, but by the smiles they help spread in the world.
Yes, Aunt.
So, first off, that's probably a white lady talking. These use white ladies for that stuff all the time, right? So it's probably not even a black person. But do you see what the commercial keeps doing? Like, first they have "Wish I Was in Dixie." That's a throwback to slave times. This product didn't come out in slave times, but they put that in there at the beginning of the commercial to say, "Don't you wish you had a slave in your kitchen? Don't you wish you had a mammy?" So that's why they called it a slave in a box. That's why it was. It was a slave in the box. You can have your own slave. The glory days of when you had a slave, and the slave would make the pancakes, like all that cooking. The white woman in the house couldn't really cook like the slave could. Like Southern food is soul food. It's the slaves that made it. Barbecue is the slaves did the barbecuing. Like soul food is just basically slave food. So sorry, Southern food is just basically soul food, slave food, just like a little bit altered. So it's like this thing is slave in the box, and they're throwing in the subliminal "wish I was in Dixie," like, hey, you were born too late to get the glory days of plantation. You were born too late to get, the real thing. But this tastes as good as having a slave in your kitchen cooking. And they sometimes, like, they would call the slave aunt and uncle in the house. That was something they used to do. That's why, like, Uncle Ben and stuff like that. So think about what they put mammy, like you're calling a black woman your mammy. That's a term for a mother. Irish people call their mothers mammy, and you also call them like aunt and uncle. So that's what Aunt Jemima is. That's like a built-in slave. That's the psychology behind it. And because of how it visually looks now, you don't really see it the way you used to see it. So let me keep going. The whole thing is she just keeps going and giving them that homespun wisdom. This is what they're missing. Notice they don't just have the food missing. You also miss like that good old Negro wisdom, that good old. And this is what's happening in that clip of The Help, which is like, this is where she's going. This is you are good. You are special. What she's doing in that clip is the same thing Aunt Jemima is doing in this commercial. No, you is special. You is whatever. Same thing, and that's somebody said this is true. Like, there's a politician that got busted with a mammy statue in the kitchen. Like, this stuff is heavy for them. This is really heavy for them. And that's what Oprah did. That's why Oprah is so rich. Like, that's why those white women love Oprah. That's why white people love Oprah. She taps into that. She's like a corporate neoliberal, like she's a neo-mammy. And she really touched into that. That's why so much of her stuff is about food and spirituality and cooking and all this stuff. She doesn't really have intellectual topics on there. If you look at what Donahue had versus what she had, Donahue actually had more black topics and more racially progressive topics than Oprah. Oprah was like that mammy clip that was pushing aside the black men to let the white woman through. Like, Oprah was hell on the black man. Oprah didn't really have much empathy for black women, to be honest. She used to like kind of throw black women under the bus, make them look like welfare queens and stuff like that when she did have them on. Even though she did treat black men much worse, people kind of missed what she did. But Oprah was really there to be like, if Aunt Jemima was a mammy in a box in the form of being in a pancake box, Oprah was a mammy in a box in terms of being the boob tube, the box in your living room, the TV, to the extent that a TV is a box, But I'm going to play more of this clip.
Aunt Jemima. Smiling, happy Aunt Jemima, famous for her secret recipe pancakes, waffles, and buckwheat. What's a good word, Aunt Jemima?
Well, Mr. Lion, folks says there's nothing so pretty as a happy face and nothing so worthwhile as a happy life.
Yes, Aunt Jemima, that is true. Smiling, happy Aunt Jemima, famous for those secret recipe pancakes, waffles, and buckwheat. Seems to me you're just bursting with one of your happy sayings.
Well, I is, Mr. Charlie. The old folks, they said, you doubles your own happiness when you shares it with other folks.
And now, Aunt Jemima, one of your old
I think that one is an actual real black woman. The first one I think was a white woman. You could tell by the way she talks. Like there's a certain way that white people do minstrelsy back then that was had a particular sound to it. But I know that they eventually did hire a real black woman. I think now we're hearing her.
plantation sayings, if you will.
It's a pleasure, folks, to remind you all that the Lord meant for the
Okay,
sky
this one I
to
think is
be
a white
blue.
woman.
But if the day is blue, it's probably our fault.
True, Aunt Jemima, true. Have you got a tempting, tantalizing old plantation saying for us today, Aunt Jemima?
Yes, sir. One that's especially good these days. It's that folks who smiles at breakfast mostly don't never need no doctor.
A good thing to remember.
No, that last one was clearly a white lady. I just want to point that out.
Greetings, folks, greetings. This is your old friend, Aunt Jemima.
And pleased as punch with yourself this morning, aren't you, Aunt Jemima?
Course I is, Mr. Lion. Maybe you don't know it, but this year is buckwheat time. And I'm here to tell the ladies how they can happify the whole family with rich and mellow, light and fluffy, tempting Aunt Jemima buckwheat.
Buckwheat. I love them.
Sure you does. Everybody do. And with my secret Old South recipe, anybody can make the most delicious, delectable.
So here, Aunt Jemima had a special offer, the box, where you can get an Aunt Jemima and a ragdoll family. So you can order like Mammy statues and pictures of the pickaninnies with your Aunt Jemima.
Delightful, digestible buckwheat cakes in the whole world.
Wow, that was a mouthful, Aunt Jemima. You better rest a minute while we hear some music.
They tempt the lady.
Yeah, so I mean, y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. Yeah, but there's a lot of that. What needed to cause the refinement stage of that, So they the modern version of that now is you find on Twitter with the blue checks and stuff. Where now they're in power suits. Like now you have mammies in power suits, and all these white liberals falling all over themselves. They try to turn Maxine Waters into a neo-mammy. And I don't think Maxine Waters like really is what she wants to be, but I think that's how the white people turned her into, right? Now, look at what they call Maxine Waters, anti-Maxine. Aunt Jemima, anti-Maxine, and this idea that Maxine Waters is going to save us with her homespun wisdom. They never put Maxine Waters up for something intellectual. And this is not to say Maxine Waters is not intellectual. Like I want to make sure that I'm being clear with that. I'm not saying that Maxine Waters isn't smart. I'm saying they don't want her for her smarts. They want her to be a mammy. They want her to be a neo-mammy, a power suit mammy. Like that's why everything they say about Aunt Mammy is like anti-Maxine. Anti-Maxine's serving looks. Anti-Maxine is claiming my time and rolling. They do things like rolling her neck, and they look for things like that where she's gonna stop Trump with some old school sass and serving looks and stuff like that. Someone said I thought black women did that. Well, this is what white women are calling her anti-Maxine like crazy. Now, there's a lot of black women who are doing that, but the black women who are doing that, those are the type of black women who are trying to audition for white women. Like they're almost prostituting Maxine Waters. Like they're the type who are encouraging white people to look at Maxine Waters like that because they're playing the same game themselves. They want to play the same games. These are people who want to do all this stuff and get put on, like and like so this is what's going on. I'll give another example, right? Like the people who are pushing Maxine Waters to be called Aunt Maxine. So they're calling her Aunt Maxine performatively for their white followers, because these are the type of black people who have more white followers than black followers, and um, the black blue checks kind of give them the okay to call her Aunt Maxine, you know. And I'll give an example with this article, with this thing here. Let me show you real quick. So this is a perfect example. Like after Doug Jones won, even though there's like only a couple of percent difference between what black men voted for Doug Jones and black women, there were all these stories like this, like black women got Doug Jones elected. This is why you need black women. Trust black women, you know. And there's a bunch of these trust black women articles. But the people who write all these things are like people who want to get hired onto campaigns, people who want to get put on, like these blue checks blacks themselves. So, you know, they're all for this. So you see this picture and they make it seem like black women will save us. You hear that a lot online. That's that same kind of neo-mammy thing. Like, you know, the same way Aunt Jemima was saving the family. Did you see in that in those those radio clips? Aunt Jemima kept coming in and she's saving the white family by feeding them and giving them like physical nourishment, but also spiritual and emotional nourishment. Like, do you see how each time in each commercial, that was a compilation of commercials, but each time it was like, give us one of those slave plantation sayings, give us one of those things like, without you in the house, we've lost the soul of the house. It's just cold, bitchy mommy dearest, and you know, workaholic philandering dad. Like that the house is soulless without you. That's kind of what's happening in Mad Men. Like Carla had more heart in the house than Don or Betty did, and and that's why it was viewed as a tragedy when Carla left. You know that the implication was almost that it was a bigger tragedy for Sally than it was the white daughter, than it was for actual Carla. Like, you didn't see anything about Carla after she left. Like, she didn't really exist outside of the eyes of the white people. You know, it was almost like solipsism. Like when Carla is out of the frame or out of the house, she almost ceases to exist as a separate entity. So this thing is like, this article is like, you know, Doug Jones defeated Roy Moore in the Alabama race for Senate on Tuesday. According to CNN exit polls, this is largely due to the massive turnout of black women voters. Mark Ruffalo announced that he has it on good authority that God is a black woman. J.K. Rowling is of the same opinion. Others are urging their platforms to let Alabama serve as an example of the way black women can save America. One popular account simply repeated the phrase on loop: trust black women, trust black women, trust black women. And this is where the author inserts herself into it. And this is why I say these people are kind of trying to cash it on themselves. So, and I hate this line in all modern articles now: as a blank, as a blankety blank, as a blank. Because as a black woman myself, I can't help but read into the quiet implications of these public platitudes. I can't help, and I hate how all these articles now so normal, just insert yourself all into it. Like it's not about you, but whatever. Everything's like a diary entry or a memoir, you know. So everything's, the writing's so narcissistic now. But I can't help but feel that the black woman only gets to be God this week because to many, God is an infinite source of non-reciprocal support. God is an enigma that shows up for us no matter how many times we fail to show up in return. When I see the words trust black women repeated as a mantra, I fill in the rest of the sentence with clean up this mess or do the work. This has been the expectation of us since our arrival here. And while we ricochet from God to Mammy and back again, we never quite land at fully fleshed human beings with needs. And then, you know, they keep going on about how unappreciated black women are and how, you know, but the problem is that this is the problem. This is the problem with this. It's not that she's wrong so far, right? This is the problem with it. The problem is that she buys into it. What she's saying is, like, it's not wrong to see me as a mammy, you're not rewarding me enough for being your mammy. Like, she doesn't want to step out of the system. She wants a raise, right? And that's what is the problem. Because the article goes on, right? I skipped ahead. I took it off the screen, but this is what she goes. So she goes to this whole list about everything that black women do. So she's pushing like that we save everybody. Like, she's actually leaning into like the narrative of the mammy, of the black woman as a mammy, the black woman as the spiritual guide, the spiritual companion, the black woman as a magical Negro. There's a reason why these people love the term black women, black girls are magic. It kind of ties into that. But she goes, this isn't to say we don't owe black women a debt of gratitude, but it's okay for black women to look out for themselves without carrying the rest of society on their backs and the forefront of their minds, right? And then she goes, we deserve more bodies at protests in our honor. We deserve advocates for fair conversation for our work. We deserve to be backed up and fought for, and not just trusted, not just believed. Beyond praising black women for the way they served America and Alabama, people must begin to ask themselves, how can they best return the favor, and then start doing it? Black women in Alabama didn't just talk about Doug Jones. They showed up for him in the local voting booths. It's about time that we show up for them too. So basically, what she's basically saying is we want better compensation for being mammy. She's not really bucking the idea of the mammy or the black woman savior. She just wants it to be treated differently. And then I'll give her another example. This one is a little more blatant, but Zerlina Maxwell, after the 2016 election, and she's always looking for a job, like always. She wrote, there was this book called Nasty Women. I think Nasty Women was meant to be a compilation of essays cheering on Hillary's win, because they all thought it was a done deal. And all these pundits and blue checks were basically measuring the drapes in the White House, just waiting to get put in and get their jobs and get put in. Like, I think Jamil Smith already had in his head he was going to be somebody up in the White House. And they kind of bought in and bootlegged all for nothing, But so this compilation, I think, was meant to be kind of celebratory, and it ended up not happening. But this compilation of essays came out anyway, called Nasty Women, and with a bunch of feminist essays. And one of them, that one by Zerlina Maxwell, who's like a black pundit who's always trying to get put on. Like, during the 2020 election, she was just basically shifting her alliances behind whichever Democratic candidate seemed to be leading today, so that she'd be on record supporting them when it came time to get a job with them. So one day she'd be Miss K-Hive, one day she'd be Miss Elizabeth Warren supporter, Miss Warren Hive. Never Bernie Sanders. She didn't like him, but I think because she knew she wasn't going to get a job with Bernie Sanders. But Zerlina Maxwell did Trust Black Women. She did this article, right? And this is it. Trust Black Women. Progress for one white woman can be part of progress for all women, but only if women of all colors play a role in making that progress a reality. So she's saying, white women winning is fine, but just make sure to have black women in the support role. So I'm gonna repeat that again. Progress for one white woman can be a part of the progress for all women. So basically, she's being the mammy to Hillary's Scarlett O'Hara. Like, when the white woman wins, that can help all of us win. All women win. As long as black women are included with being given a role, like given a chance to help in making that progress a reality. So then here's what she says. Black women tried to save you, America. You didn't want to be saved. 94% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 presidential election, if for no other reason than to keep Donald Trump out of the White House. We tried to save you. Like, think about how sick that is. Like, so black women weren't voting for themselves. They were trying to save white America. You know, think about that. Like how sick about. Oh, what's something funny? You know what's funny? Angela Rye, right? She buys into all the auntie stuff. She calls everybody auntie, but you know, she's in her 30s, I think. She's in her late 30s, but she calls herself cousin Angela. It's I find funny. Like there's people only a couple years older than her, and she does like auntie stuff for everybody, but for herself, she reserves cousin Angela, which I thought was funny that she's cousin Angela. Like you're an auntie too. Black people aren't white folks' left tackle. Yes, exactly. That's what. Like these people don't want to subvert tropes. They just want to find a way to weaponize them and jump in on them and just make the trope, you know, a little nicer. I don't want to have to walk in with a kerchief and be fat. Let me get a power suit and a perm, you know, and I'll be your mammy, you know. It's like, or let me get a nice natural, you know. So we tried to save you. F you. Even though there are good reasons to have some skepticism that President Hillary Clinton would bring meaningful change to Black lives. In many ways, the first woman to earn the major party nomination personifies the second wave feminist movement of the 1960s and 70s, which didn't do enough to center the most marginalized women. Had she won, it would have been primarily seen as a victory for white affluent feminists who remain a narrow subset of the movement with outsized influence on public discourse. And yet, at the center of her campaign, in policymaking, web design, communication, and strategy, were Black women. From the most junior staffer to senior advisors, we, like you said, we, you know, were involved in every single aspect of the campaign. And the we is important because this is really about getting a job for herself. Hillary may be the public face of white feminism, but nevertheless, she attracts and empowers Black women. And she talks to a bunch of people who are probably just her friends. These people, they're always doing a mutual admiration society for other like of these blue checks and strivers and buy-ins. I don't even want to call them sellouts because you have to kind of have a principle and believe in something to be a sellout. They're buy-ins. Like but she goes, Hillary has taught us that progress for women isn't always progress for Black women, but a Hillary Clinton presidency would have been, if nothing else. She's buttering up Hillary because she wants a job with Hillary. And this was probably written when she thought Hillary was going to win. If nothing else, a win for Black women who have always been in her direct sphere of influence. In politics, proximity to power is often the first step toward actual power and progress. Wow. Think about that. What she actually said. Absorb that. Let that sink in. I'm going to repeat that because this is interesting. These people, if you talk long enough, you're always going to give away the truth somehow and say the quiet part out loud. She said, in politics, proximity to power is often the first step toward actual power and progress. But what that means is your first priority is proximity to power over real power, you know, because you think that's the way to real power. And not only is it not really the way to real power, not to me anyway, but like the fact that you admit that you're focusing on it is, you know, very scary because then it becomes like the goal. Like, you know, if you just get proximity to real power, you're gonna be that's it. This is something that we talked about on the show, but it's kind of heavy to get into. But yeah, but I think there is a weird sub dom attitude between how they view these black people who tell them to check their privilege. Like I think there is a certain degree to which the white person is the dom and the black person who chastises them to check their privilege all the time is kind of like the dom. And there's a masochistic streak to that where they like getting told off. To the white liberal who likes to self-flagellate, having these people around to just constantly tell them to check their privilege, but not ask for real things. If they ask for actual, real, tangible black agenda, it's not cute anymore, right? So much the topping from the bottom. That's exactly what it is, right? But continue with this. In politics, proximity to power is often the first step toward actual power and progress. And the Clinton campaign employed more black women than any other presidential campaign in American history. Now, let me ask you, what deep political insight or thought is in this outside of kissing Hillary Clinton's ass and trying to carry water for Hillary Clinton with black women, right? For me, it wasn't just, and she quotes somebody, for me, it wasn't just about helping to elect the first woman president, but helping to elect a woman who also centers, I hate that word, black women's experiences. Nisha Blandon, the campaign's national deputy women's vote director, told me, I have worked on many campaigns, and Ready for Hillary and Hillary for America have been the most diverse places campaigns I've ever worked on. So basically, to find out what Hillary Clinton did for black women, she just asked a black woman in Hillary Clinton's campaign, who is by far the most objective person to ask this to. You know, I found the same to be true. There's a thing again about inserting yourself into everything and making it about yourself. You know, I found the same to be true. The decision to dedicate 10 months of my life to Hillary's 2016 presidential campaign was easy once I saw that she was smart enough to hire phenomenal black women like Maya Harris and Karen Finney. This is the most brown-nosing, ass-kissing job application I've seen, and placed them at the center of her campaign operations. And she just keeps going on about everything she did about hiring black women. And then she adds that she mentions all the people that she hired, but she goes, as women of color are increasingly acknowledged as influential Democratic voters, and more of us are hired for leadership positions in campaigns and cabinets, the Democrats will become a true big tent party with people of myriad identities working together. So she's saying basically not about any actual real policy that these white people can do for black people. What she's doing is saying what black people can do for white people if they let them be their mammies. So basically she's offering mammy services, but like the other lady, she just wants more in return for being the mammy. She doesn't try to subvert or say, I'm not here to be your mammy. She's like, yeah, we saved America. We did it to save you. We're mammy pushing aside everyone else. Like when they do the stories about how black men are like patriarchs voting for Trump and black women saved the country. And meanwhile, even though white women actually voted 50% for Trump, they're still presenting themselves like they're helping white women in their mission, as if white women didn't make their decision made or clear that they chose white supremacy. They chose Trump. They still want to keep this image of Scarlett O'Hara and Mammy alive because they're banking on it. She goes, perhaps that's what is actually a turn off all those white voters, including 53% of white women who chose Donald Trump over the preferred candidate of almost all black women. Whatever the reasons, black women are the ones who have to live with the most painful consequences of that betrayal because regressive policies inevitably impact us the most. This is why we're such reliable voters, even after devastating losses. As generations of black women before us, we have no choice but to press on. So she just keeps pushing that narrative. And so she's interviewing more and more people. She brings up Philando Castile and Black Lives Matter and police brutality for some reason. I don't know what that has to do with any of this. She goes, oftentimes sisterhood is born out of tragedy. Constant challenges and questions about our own abilities plague all women, but black women who are acculturated into a world that doesn't affirm our humanity must declare our quote-unquote magic in the face of obstacles to progress at every level. The phrase Black Women Magic stems from a hashtag and online movement. It's such a joke of an article. It's just like a Medium piece. I can't believe it's like published in a real book. The phrase Black Girl Magic stems from a hashtag, an online movement to uplift black women and to acknowledge their excellence in the face of white supremacist structures that perpetuate constant messages of inferiority. It's all about celebrating our universal awesomeness when the world writ large does not. So when cable news fed America's appetite for sensationalized tragedy by airing seemingly endless images and videos of black bodies being brutalized, the black women on Hillary's campaign tried to keep the focus on our magic and our goal of electing the first woman president. The act of getting up to go to work began to feel like an act of resistance. Like she's making herself sound like she's really been through some shit, and you just worked on a campaign. It's not like oh my god. But this is what I want you to understand about this paragraph. This is what they're trying to sell to white people, right? And this is gonna be a little heavy. It's a little bit of knowledge, you know. It's not knowledge. I'm gonna drop like some knowledge. I'm putting the tinfoil kufi on. This is what they intuitively get about white people. Like, you know how I said that white people kind of view us as like their emotional support dogs, right? They're human emotional support dogs, right? They're spiritual proxy. They're all that stuff. The ones that fill out their sensuality, the ones that fill out this stuff for them. What, especially in the age of Trump, she says like black women have the most to suffer from Trump, but they really don't, because black women and black men are already in the bottom. Like, what has Trump really done to black men and black women that's made life worse, like actively? You know, the black people who are being hurt by Trump are being hurt really because I would say hurt more than they were on other people, is because they've fall under another group. So maybe they're black Latinos getting deported. Maybe they're black immigrants getting caught up in the immigration crackdowns, you know, or black people who are part of like another group, like black Muslims getting stuck in Muslim bans and stuff. But as far as like actively making black people's lives worse, we were already in the bottom, even under Obama. Like nothing was being done for us. Obama never really successfully addressed Black Lives Matter. Obama mostly talked about black people to hit us with respectability politics, to signal to white people that he's keeping the niggers in line, you know? So this idea that black people have so much more to lose under Trump, that's not really what she's talking about, what she's selling. I don't think she really believes it. This is where I think the goal is of all this stuff. And this is why white people want anti-Maxine, why they're going for all this black women will save us stuff, and why a lot of these black women like Zelina Maxwell and the other lady are kind of pushing themselves as the mammies, right? Like in Gone with the Wind, the mammy became more important after the Civil War, even, because she was really the emotional support dog, the emotional support mammy, because there's a part of Gone with the Wind where a big undertone of it is now the white people are going to become niggers too, right? White people go through phases where they think they're going to be niggerized. That's what the whole white genocide thing is. Like white genocide, white nationalism, all that white alarmism, and also the Trump fears fall under this. Is a lot of people are afraid. There's two fears that happens. One, like the white genocide thing is like, if we become a minority, the non-whites are going to niggerize us the way we niggerize them, and turnabout's going to be fair play. That's a very potent white fantasy. And the funny thing is, non-white people aren't even built like that. But you know, they think that turnabout's fair play. Like they project on non-white people what's going to happen to them, right? And the other thing is, there's a fear that someone else, maybe even another white person, is going to niggerize them alongside, next to the black people, even to a status below the black people. So either the black people are going to do turnabout and niggerize them, or another white person who's ascendant is going to niggerize them. So for example, in Gone with the Wind, you saw those black people dancing in the street. There's this idea that these free blacks are now going to take over. That was the birth of a nation fear. Like these free blacks are going to uprise. So many of them are getting, like, right after slavery, Reconstruction, pre-Jim Crow, before Andrew Johnson like tore down all the progress, black people were making a ton of progress. They were making a lot of political progress. They were getting jobs. They were getting politics. They were becoming part of a new ascendant class. And And there was a big fear of that, and that's why those black people were tap dancing in the street and having a grand old time, like, and dressed up. They were living it up, and that was part of the white people's fear that the black people are going to go above us. But then the other fear that happens is the carpetbaggers. In Gone with the Wind, the white carpetbaggers are coming in, and the newly ascendant, like poor whites, like one of the ex-workers is now aligned with the carpetbaggers, and he's living it up. So like disloyal whites. And one thing that happens is when white people fear that it's their turn to be niggerized, and it happens to other groups too, like non-black POC also go through this phase where, oh my God, we're about to get niggerized. That's when and this is kind of paradoxical, right? Like a lot of times violence against blacks appear too and stuff, but it's also when they kind of start relying on their good blacks more. That's when they start needing their coons more, like the sellouts more. And this is why I'm gonna show you this scene from Gone with the Wind that kind of drives it home, right? Peep this scene from Gone with the Wind. I'm gonna put it up real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm gonna set up the scene, right? This is after they lose the Civil War and stuff, and Scarlett O'Hara starts like running a factory, and she starts taking industry. She becomes like, and this is kind of seen as kind of a bad thing, right, and a distasteful thing. And I'll show you what's happening here. I'm gonna break it down, but you'll see why. Hopefully the sound works. But look. So these are white workers. You see, they're in chains. They're in prison gangs. Now that Irish guy says, if you just give me, the Irish guy, and he's like a low class guy on purpose, a free hand, you're gonna get all the work that you can get out of them. Like basically, I'm going to treat them like niggers. I'm gonna treat them like slaves, right? See, so she's thinking about it, right? All right. So he's called the foreman, but the foreman is basically what used to be on the slave plantation, the overseer. You see how the game has changed? Now industry, now the office, now the workplace, the factory is the new slave plantation. This is the future, and the overseer is now the foreman. He's basically middle management, and she's signing off on it. But look at the white guys behind her. Like, they're like, this is not how it's supposed to be. But these people were fine when it was slavery, when it was black people doing this, right? They were fine. But you're not supposed to do this to white people. But peep it. See, he leaves. It's distasteful. No questions and no interference. And he tells him, don't interfere, no questions. Let me treat these white people like I need to treat them in order to get the results that you want. So these are the new slaves. See, and what does her husband say? This isn't right, and you know it. Like this is not how it's meant to be. This is not right, and you know it. And that's like a real fear. And like, it's not true, first of all, because niggers are always going to be the niggers. Like, that's always going to be what's going to happen. Like, there's always this fear that, white people want really bad to be oppressed or think they're the new black people. And in no situation, no era has that ever happened. But if black people just close the gap, even just a little bit, like they rise a little bit, or white people drop a little bit, they lose their minds, right? But what I'm talking about is the fantasy, whether it's reality or not. But in addition to like an increase in violence against black people whenever they feel they're being niggerized, and I want to show you an example of how there's this fear that white people are going to even be joining in on the niggerization. That's what happened there. There's that's when you need the good black people more, and that starts happening Gone with the Wind. Like what really gets them through is the Mammies and the Uncle Toms. That's what really gets them through. A lot of it, like one of the Uncle Tom type characters saves Scarlett O'Hara from getting raped, even by white men. Like he actually literally saves her, and like uh white man, a white proletariat, and a black brute both get together to try to rape Scarlett O'Hara, and the loyal black servant, the black kind of Uncle Tom Coon guy, goes in and saves her and stuff. And that's actually changed from the book. And the book is just black guys trying to rape her. They actually changed that for the movie. But part of the reason behind that fantasy, and this is what I think Zelina Maxwell is really selling. I don't think Zelina Maxwell really believes black women are going to suffer under Trump. That's the same fantasy as when in Reconstruction South they would tell slaves that you're going to fear the worst under the carpetbaggers or whatever. You're better off in slavery, and the Northerners are actually going to make your life worse. That's part of the fantasy. But what she's offering, what she's really saying, you have to read between the lines, the code. She's saying we're suffering experts, right? The same way you can use this for your spirituality or sensuality or whatever. We're suffering experts, and we can teach you. If you're going to be niggerized, we can teach you how to survive being niggerized, because we're always that under every stage of America anyway. And that's kind of like what happens with Scarlett O'Hara. Like she pushes through living in squalor and being whatever by leaning on her black slaves, and like dejected side by side, they get to it together. But the black people are already used to keeping their head down and praying to God and pulling through, whereas Scarlett is very fragile. She can't take any type of inconvenience. She can't take any, like, she has to work in the field just a little bit in her hands. There's a scene where they can't work the fields. They can't do anything, but they have to, because now they're forced to do an honest day's work for the first day in their lives. And it's the black people who kind of show them how to push through the squalor before they rise back up again, right? And but that's the kind of thing. Like, you're supposed to be a nigger. It's fine. It makes sense for you to do it. You're used to it. You actually like it. You're accustomed to it. It doesn't bother you. But I'm not supposed to be in that position. And it's not just white people. It's like non-black people. Like someone said, can't treat immigrants that way, and that's true. Like, so much of what we deal with in society with the foster care system is basically authorities coming and criminalizing parents unfairly, and then throwing kids in cages, along with the parents, kids being born in prison, and then torn away from the parents and given even to foster parents, and ruining families, and parents have to fight. That's been the black reality, like, forever, from slavery to the foster care system. That has been baked into American reality, that, white people can take away black kids at any given time, can throw black parents in cages and throw the kids along with them. But when you niggerize the immigrants, the Latino immigrants, some of them white Latinos, it feels wrong. Even black people get madder at it. Black people who have no interest in the foster care system, even they start going crazy. See all these black blue checks, like, no more cages. This is not what it's about. And they probably wouldn't even give a damn about black foster care. They don't have any idea what it's like, but that's what I call blacks on bottom, whites on top. That's our equilibrium. That's our reality. Those two things have to be in play. And anything that breaks that equilibrium, blacks on bottom, whites on top, whether it's non-black people of color falling below black people to become the new bottom, or white people falling from the top, even if it's the number two, like, those things just fuck up non-black people, right? So That's what she's selling with this neo-mammyism. Like, what she's really saying is like, we'll be your mammies. Trump's going to niggerize you. He's going to make all of you black the same way the Northerners and the freed slaves and the carpetbaggers and everything, those no good black men who are taking advantage of the carpetbagger situation, whatever, they're going to all subjugate you and whatever. But we're used to suffering. The anti-Maxines of the world, the Zulina Maxwells, whatever, we're offering you. And to be fair, I don't think Maxine Waters is consciously or deliberately doing this herself. I think these Zulina Maxwell and Angela Wright types are kind of feeding into it and pushing her to that, yeah, and this is true. Obama said this. It says that we need to help other groups and not ask what's in it for blacks. That's what Obama said. He told black people to stop being selfish and you got to help other people. And he said all types of messed up things about immigrants. So, yeah, this all goes to say I don't think we got into this whole mammy tangent because of the idea that Stacey Abrams is being hurt by being fat. I don't think she is. I think that's gotten her where she is. Yeah, but I mean, I could read more from this article, but the article is just freaking terrible. There's not really much to talk about in it. It's just her big. It's really long too. It's an essay from this book. She got a book deal, by the way, so she has a new book coming out. I'm sure it's going to be not that great, but actually, I'm not sure one more paragraph from this because I think it's interesting. Let me see. So she goes, conversations between white women who voted for Donald Trump and black women who supported and worked for Hillary Clinton will not be easy, but that's why we need to begin having them every day at every opportunity and with anyone open to having them. It's not until we confront these inequities among different types of women that we can move forward. Progress for one white woman can be part of progress for all women, but only if women of all colors play a role in making that progress a reality. So let me repeat that and think about what it's saying, right? I'm going to repeat that again. Progress for one white woman can, not definitely is, but can be progress for all women, but only if women of all colors play a role in making that progress a reality. What she's saying is, we're going to help you sell a white woman winning as a win for all black women, for all women, including non-women of color, right? But to do that, you better hire us. This whole article and all this has been basically her way to pitch them becoming the particular neo-mammies. This is not really about all black women. This is really about her and her cronies that she mentions in the article. These people are always trying to get each other jobs and bring each other with them. So basically what she's saying is, if you want to be able to get some cool points with women of color and not have them agitate against you, you need to bring us along with you. And if you do that, then, it's kind of like a veiled threat. It's like a win by a white woman can be, it's like a protection racket. When someone says like, this store is a nice store, it can do really well in this neighborhood if you hire the right protection and pay the right people, and the implication is like, it's me, right? But it's like, so the reason he's saying this can be something that helps you win over black people if you hire the right people, which is us, and we'll put you over and we'll help you sell this as. And the funny thing is, it doesn't work because that's what Elizabeth Warren tried. She hired a whole bunch of these social justice influencers and she couldn't get anything. She could even win her home state. Like, the New York Times even wrote an article like kind of laughing about how she hired like basically every single one of these grifters that she could. These types, with these profiles and these Tumblr pedigrees, and because black people don't fuck with them. These are people that didn't even fit in with black people growing up. Like these, like the blurs and the snobs and whatever, who did everything they could to. Like these are people discovered they were black in college. Like that's like the big joke of all this. Is like they can't even deliver what they're promising to deliver. And then this is what it says. It goes, it keeps quoting her friends, right? I supported Hillary not just because she was the most qualified person to ever run for president, but because I appreciated how she always elevated and supported black women throughout her career, meaning she hired me. If she had been elected, I am more than confident that she would have made sure that we all had a seat at the table in her administration. Then Zolina Maxwell continues after quoting that woman. The question remains, why 53% of white women did not share the belief that Hillary's agenda would represent their interests well? We tried to save you. So again, Mammy, I tried to save you. There's two things going on there. There was an irony of two things that happens with these types. One thing is they want to be alongside white women and be the white women's mammies, but there's one thing that makes them different than the old mammy. The old mammy, at least in the fantasy that the Scarlett O'Hara type had of the old South and whatever, she kind of knew her place and she wanted to be subservient. These new mammies are kind of like Trojan horses. What they want to do is they want to present themselves like mammies, but the refined version, the neo-mammies, like mammies in power suits, but they want to kind of low-key replace white women. They want to be like the new white women. Like, that's why a lot of them are like very big into swirling or bashing black men, or worshiping Chris Evans and being thirsty for white guys and stuff. Like there's a sense in which it's like a Trojan horse mammyism. There's a part of them that they want to they kind of want to replace. So it's like that's why she's kind of like selling herself as the white woman's mammy, but she's also throwing white women under the bus and saying how black women are more involved than white women, and we try to save you. Yeah. So going back to, I want to talk some more about Stacey Abrams, but I've been going on longer than I thought. Right? Let me see. I'll keep going a little bit longer if you want. It's up to you. But I'm gonna see some more likes for the people in the YouTube room. Like, y'all give, if we get to like, I'm gonna talk about Stacey Abrams specifically and some other stuff, but let's get some more likes in the room because we got 59 people. We should have like more likes. So let's get like, if we get to 40, I'll keep going. If not, I'll hold this off for later in the week. But we should definitely get some more likes in here. Comment, like, and subscribe. Like comment, like, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. It helps us get discovered. Help people. If you like Champion Sharks, like what we do, definitely comment, like, subscribe. But let's get those likes up to like 40. And if so, then we'll keep going. If not, because I'll take it as you're getting bored. You're getting burnt out. But in the meantime, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? It's kind of funny. I was going to talk about Stacey Abrams and Joe Biden being in and out, but I thought the Mammy thing was a pretty good diversion because it ends up tying in. Okay, we are almost at 40. If we get to 40, I'll keep going. If not, I can put it away for another day. I just want to make sure you got. I want to make sure you guys are not getting burnt out. I'm going to use that as Yeah, thank you. Yeah, see, Jamal says I do look sleepy. Yeah, I am sleepy. That's why I'm kind of looking low key to bow out. That's why I want to get like I want to see 40 likes. I want to see if people really want me to be here. You know what I'm saying? We're stuck at 39. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to hold off on this because I can use this as an excuse to go to sleep. Because like Jamal said, we got to 40. Okay. V Scott made me laugh. All right, all right, all right. So anyway, um, yo, what is this like before we go on? Because yeah, um, becoming Doc on Michelle Obama, heavy propaganda. I was thinking of looking at that. People asked me to look on that, but I was so afraid to um check it out because I'm like that thing looks like such propaganda. But I have a guest who I think might make it interesting, so I might do it. Um, yeah, but here's peep this. I just want to finish some stuff about the Mammy Memorial, just to finish that out because there's some interesting facts about it. Y'all seen the Jazz Singer, the first Sound movie, but Al Jolson's favorite song was Mammy, and if you ever listen to the lyrics of Mammy, that's a great example of like the hold that the Mammy has on the white consciousness. There's a reason why Hattie McDaniel playing Mammy won the first Academy Award, like for a black person, you know. But what people don't know is in the 50s and 60s, Disneyland included a restaurant called Aunt Jemima's Kitchen, you know. Like the Mammy Memorial had to be taken away because it got too much controversy, you know, but they really really wanted to make it, you know. So yeah, they really wanted that thing. They really wanted that thing made. It's an interesting thing, but peep this. Let's go to. I have like way too many windows up. I wish I could find the Gabby Sidibe thing where they put her a bunch of white actresses. It was really low key clowning her. I thought. Uh, but they've done like a lot of messed up spreads with Gabby Sidibe. I just can't remember all of them. I wish I could find them, but they always kind of make her into a sex symbol in the way that they're clearly clowning her, but what they don't do with generally conventionally hot black women like Regina Hall. Like I've seen more sexy spreads in white magazines of Gabby Sidibe than I have of say Regina Hall or some other people. But I want to show an example. Elle had this thing where they had 4 covers in 1 month, and it was supposed to be, I think, I forgot what the theme was. What the theme was. There was a certain theme behind it, but they did this thing. They had this theme, and then this is what they did, and I thought it was so interesting. Right? So they put this spread up, and they have Lauren Conrad, Megan Fox, Amanda Seyfried, and then Gabby Sidibe, and they really put a close up on her to make her like look extra big. And I felt like that was kind of like low key clowning. Like, why not put Beyonce on there and stuff? Because Beyonce would smoke them, you know, or you put like Regina Hall or somebody like a black girl with curves or whatever. Even a black girl without curves, it would just make them look like flavorless milk, you know. But there was an interior spread which I can't find. We did something similar. They put it was called Young Hollywood or something. And they put all these um pretty conventionally pretty young white women, and then they put like Gabby or someone said Oriana, true, and they put Gabby Sidibe just all up in the mix with them. But there was another one where I think the controversy was, let me see if I can find it. did this spread with Gabby Sidibe, right? It was called. I think the spread had. I'm going to show the spread real quick, but I believe I could be wrong. I believe that the spread was in this magazine that I'm about to put on the screen. I just can't find the actual picture. This one happened on the inside of the magazine, and what they did was this. Oh wait, where is the option to add? Let's see. Have we ended? Because I have a freezing up on my end. I don't know if I got hit by the copyright strike again. Somehow it's taken away my ability to show pictures. But basically, I can't show you the pictures. It's not letting me share the screen right now. I don't know why it's not. But basically, what happened is she had a spread on the inside where they put her in amongst a sea of like skinny, twiggy, conventionally pretty white girls and her big self in there. But then on the cover, they snubbed her. They didn't put her on the cover. And they just put like some of the white girls like Kristen Stewart and stuff on there. So that was pretty interesting. They shot her down like that. But yeah, my screen is frozen. So I don't know if y'all can even still see me if they stop my stream. Am I still up? What's going on? I have no idea if they zap me or not on my end. I think it's still live. I don't know. But I'm just gonna have faith that I'm still being heard despite being frozen and unable to add stuff. But damn, this hurts the rest of what I was gonna talk about. I'm gonna do something. Hopefully I don't lose y'all, but let me try to refresh this. And if I try to refresh this, maybe it'll hopefully I won't lose y'all. If I lose y'all, then we'll just talk about this another time. So let's see what happens. All right. So can y'all see me? Is everything back? We all good? Oh, you know what? I don't know why, but I still cannot. Yeah, I still cannot get the screen sharing option up. I have no idea why. It won't let me share the screen anymore. So what can I do? I can't show the screen anymore, which is kind of what I needed to do to let me see something. Okay, there we go. I got it. And honestly, it was my fault. It wasn't even but it was me. Okay. So peep this. Somebody tweeted my favorite video this week is Stacey Abrams realizing on live television she sold out her values for a VP position that is never coming. But the truth is, she didn't sell out her values because she has no value. Like, this is her value, begging for jobs. Like, same as it is for Zelina Maxwell. Like, these are her values. Like, she's a buy-in. She's not a sellout, right? So I'm gonna play for you right now. This is her realizing in real time all her begging wasn't working.
I want to begin this with a question to Joe Biden because Stacey Abrams is here because Joe Biden invited Stacey Abrams to be here. And so, Mr. Vice President, do you have an announcement to make? Is
Keep
this
watching
an
her
audition?
face. Keep watching.
Is there, what is the reason that you decided it's time for me to get on TV with Stacey Abrams?
Peep it.
Well, because Stacey Abrams has done more to deal with
Now she thinks she's gonna get chose, right? She thinks she's gonna get chose. She thinks she's gonna get chose. Keep watching.
The fair vote and making sure there is a fair vote than anybody. And she has a great capacity to explain things and to lay out exactly why it's going to be so critically important in this election.
Look at it just slowly.
This president's
Oh man, I hope I don't get a copyright strike for this, but this is too good. Let me just move the screen around a little bit to keep YouTube guessing. I think if I keep stopping and talking over it,
is already said
check her out.
When they put in the stimulus package, the Congress first passed money to provide for mail-in ballots. He already said, I'm not for that. If we do that, no Republican will ever win, or something to that effect. He's made it clear. This is a guy who said he wants to defund the post office from being able to
She would be horrible at poker.
I mean, so Stacey knows what she's doing, and she's an incredibly capable person.
Oh man, poor baby. It's not right. Come on. She was chilling and looking so strong. And what I had said on Twitter was, I was like, yo, don't call her a sellout, because she's not a sellout. You're giving her too much credit. Like, what values has she ever had? Like, she's been terrible for quite a while, right? Like this is the idea that just being black is like a value, and it's not. So this is the idea that you're a sellout just if you're doing something anti-black. But we have to accept sometimes black people can have anti-black values. Like, you're not just you don't default to being pro-black just because you are black. Right? The closest thing I could tell to a value she betrayed is maybe the Me Too stuff, by downplaying and ignoring and making excuses for his sex pest claims. That's the closest thing. But I don't think that was ever a deeply held value. I think it was just Democrat opportunism during the time of Terry Kavanaugh. That's the only time I really remember her being kind of believe womanist, Yeah, she's truly a YA author. Manu12 thought I was joking. No, she's a young adult author. But here's an example of stuff she's done, right? It's from The Intercept. Georgia Democratic gubernatorial candidate voted with GOP to make it harder to hold bank executives accountable. The increasing, so they talk about she worked with the Georgia Republicans and the banking lobby to make it harder for them to be held accountable. So you can find that in the Intercept. That's one thing. I have a whole bunch of articles that talk about how messed up she was, but I don't want to read them all. But I just want to give examples. We're just going to run through a bunch of examples, but you'll see where they're from and the titles. If you want to look these up yourself, I'm going to put them on the screen so you can look them up, right? I'm not going to keep you all too much longer. So let's see. And here she was all in the news, just shamelessly begging. So in Salon, if you want to look it up yourself, right? And this appeared originally in something called The Globalist, which is kind of funny. It's called The Globalist. Joe Biden's VP choice, Stacey Abrams makes her case. And, given the utter calamity U.S. finds itself in, actually, I'm not going to read the article, but it just gives a bunch of reasons, like, why she should be chosen, and also all the things that, she's done to try to get chosen. And it doesn't have an author here. I would love to see who the author of this was, because I'm curious to see if it was one of these like blue checks or aspiring blue check black women and stuff, because part of me feels like a white woman wouldn't be pushing for this hard, because like I said, I think white women want one of their own in here. But but Salon had a story about it. Here's another story, and this one is really bad. This one is ridiculous. Like, and this one talks about a lot of the stuff that I've been trying to tell y'all about the stuff that I've been telling you about, you're going to really see it in action in this article. This is a ridiculous article. Oh man, there's a picture in it that's gone. Hold on. Damn, I have to find this article. I thought I had it up, but I don't. And this article, y'all have to see it. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. I have to find this article. It is because it has a picture in it that's really ridiculous. And I want to show y'all kind of what I'm talking. Damn it. Okay, well, let me back up. Let me back up for a second. Because I have a feeling they might have taken this picture down from the article. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I think I remember now. It was from the Washington Post, but the problem is it's paywalled. That's why I didn't have it up. Let me see if I could. Okay, so I found a non-paywalled version of the article. So let me put that non-paywalled version up, and I'm gonna put it on the screen because y'all have to see this article. And they got bashed for this article. It was hilarious. Peep this bad boy. So this is the article, The Power of Stacey Abrams. And it's by Kevin Powell, who is I believe Kevin Powell is a black man. Kevin Powell, I think, was in the first season of The Real World. Remember the black guy in Real World 1? He's the guy who wrote this article. And I had to check because I was like, I'm sure a white woman did not write this article. Like, I'd be skeptical. So Kevin Powell, he was the one that got in trouble with the white girl because he was friends with the white girl, but then the white girl pulled a black brute card on him and said he was threatening her. He got that black brute treatment. Like they were all cool. And then her name was Julie. She pulled I was scared of the big black nigger, But anyway, he wrote this article. It was very cringe. But he goes, when she's finally introduced, the women shout and leap to their feet. Young women stand on chairs, camera phones flash. Abrams, who appears both amused and slightly disturbed by the fuss over her, takes control of the chaotic scene. I've witnessed this level of affection for very few political leaders in the Democratic circles I've been in since the 80s. They have the last names Clinton, both Hillary and Bill, Sanders, Warren, Jackson, and Obama, both Michelle and Barack. And then they put this picture up. And I don't think authors get to decide which pictures go up with their stories anymore than they get to decide the headlines. People really don't know that authors will get to decide the headlines. Editors do all that stuff. The columnists and the authors just give the story, So they put this picture up in here, and this is what I'm talking about with the joke. That's like they put this mammy in this big old supermodel dress, and this I think was an example of like what I was talking about with that Ole Miss thing, And then this is what they say, and I have to put it up so you know I'm not making this up. This appears under that picture, so I think he probably gave this in, and then they put this. They had her take this picture to add to it, and they wouldn't have done this to a white woman if she was fat. If a white woman was fat, they would not have done this, right? But it puts pandemonium ensues as she walks to the far left of the stage like a runway supermodel, stops on a dime, poses, tilts her head slightly and smiles. Camera flashes explode. She next pivots and walks slowly to the center of the stage, freezes there and repeats the pose. Again, the flashes explode. Abrams is summoning her inner actress, and she is both enjoying the moment and getting through it to get to the conversation. She then pivots and walks to the far right of the stage, same. You wonder whether she has done this before, because it is not necessarily what one would expect from a 46-year-old politician who was newly elected the first black female governor in U.S. history. And it's like, just as quickly, Abrams leaves the runway, returns to politics, and it just keeps going. The balloon of silence in the meeting room is punctured time and again by amen and preach and you go, girl. And it's just like really ridiculous. I think, Kevin Powell really wants her to become, the vice president and nominee and stuff because of representation. And then what does he go into? He goes, at the conference, it's easy to be reminded that black women have long been the most loyal supporters of the Democratic Party. There goes the same thing Julian Maxwell was talking about. Like, they've been saving America. They've been saving the Democrats. They carried Doug Jones to a senatorial victory in Alabama 2018. Never mind that black men were only a few percentage points behind, but that doesn't matter. And were key to kickstarting Biden's presidential campaign when it was thought to be dead, helping to lift him to victory in South Carolina's Democratic primary. So it was only a matter of time before a black woman, especially a black woman from the American South, would rise up as a national leader and a power broker for democracy in a way we have not often seen. But it doesn't say anything that she's done for black people. Her whole selling point is how she saved, her and other black women have saved white people, It's pretty comical stuff. It's pretty comical stuff. And let's go more into how she hasn't actually done anything really for black people. And if anything, she's actually been behind a lot of anti-black stuff. She voted to cut in-state tuition for Georgia students. Like, she sided with like the Republicans and stuff. She's one of those people that's always trying to work with the other side to show that she can play ball. The Democrats in Georgia, that's one of the biggest complaints with her, is that she met more with the Republicans than them. And she's always trying to show that she can reach across the aisle. She's one of those types. She cut like scholarships that have gone to a lot of poor people in the past and made them harder to get, and that went to disproportionately black people. She's done other stuff. She's caped for immigration really hard. There's been that, but we talked about the thing with the banks already. She did all that stuff with the banks. Here's something else that she did. Let me put this bad boy up. This is by a friend of the show, Charlie Peach, who we're going to try to get on the show. We haven't been able to work it out, but I'm going to have her on. She's from Georgia. She's highly involved in politics there, and I want to have her on to talk about Stacey Abrams, because she wrote this. Stacey Abrams took $5 million from racist Mike Bloomberg to calm black people in Georgia's 2020 election. So this is around the time that Michael Bloomberg was revealed as having those horribly racist stop and frisk. Black people are more prone to criminality. Stop and frisk works, quotes. And he took $5 million from her to promote her. And and she points out that she lost her race not because of election fraud. This is what Charlie Peach says, but because many black voters knew her real political history and not the Hollywood version that was served up by the likes of Oprah and other famous celebrities. And she actually worked closely with former Republican governor to redistrict minority areas to favor GOP. And she says Stacey has never stood for black people on any topic when it comes to racism that didn't directly benefit her or her liberal elite white friends. Everyone in the Georgia state capitol knows who and why she is, and that she was the very reason that the black legislature, not that they're any better, refused to support her in the primary. A lot of black people did not support her in over there. There was a quiet disdain about Abrams that spoken in hushed tones all across Georgia Capitol, and how her only agenda was for the liberal white elites and aligning herself with Republicans when it benefited her agendas. Stacey has been quietly working with racists like Mike Bloomberg to control Georgia's political races for 2020. She helped systematically erase the candidacy of both a gay black man and a black woman who are both vying for the U.S. Senate seat in Georgia being held by David Perdue. She was paid $5 million by Bloomberg to push Reverend Raphael Warnock into the other Georgia U.S. Senate race against Kelly Loeffler. This was said to be only a ploy to drive black voters to the poll to help down-ballot Republicans, because everyone knows that Warnock stands no chance of winning that race. What's even more shameful than Abrams gladly taking the money of known racist, flip-flopping Republican and stopping frisk king is that Abrams, who used black women as a calling card in the 2016 race against Governor Kemp, is purposefully silencing the campaign of a black woman named Maya Dillard Smith, whose education and background can't be matched by any of the white candidates that are running against her. Stacey knows that Maya Dillard Smith and Markeith De Jesus was a gay black man, are running for the Perdue seat along with 3 white candidates. Yet for the second time, she has chosen to host an event that purposely excluded them. So Bloomberg also enlisted Stacey and her organization to covertly hire the new manager for Teresa Tomlinson, the former Republican and mayor of Columbus, Georgia, who's famously known for saying she speaks Republican, therefore would be more equipped to win racist white votes in rural Georgia. Tomlinson and Bloomberg have a lot in common, that they are both closet Republicans and they both love prison labor. So, yeah, there's a ton of articles that, I have both showing, you should go to Politics Peach on Medium and follow her. She has a lot of good articles, both about black politics and particularly about Georgia. Yeah, so yeah, it's the whole muling thing. A lot of them are not only happy being mules, they're like kind of selling their willingness to be mules. So NPR had this article. Stacey Abrams wants more than the vice presidency, and they had all these stories up about how much she wanted it, and I think her publicist or whatever was seeding these stories, and that's what makes it even funnier. What happened when she went there thinking that she was going to be told on national TV that he was going to choose her, and he just left her up there. That was pretty funny. I thought that was hilarious, but I mean, what can you do? That's what happens, And her favorite book, like I said before earlier, for people who didn't see it, is Atlas Shrugged, which again speaks volumes. And there's more things that she's done that have been very, very suspect as hell. So what can you do? She did it to herself, and she was in the New York Times. She was in the New York Times doing all that too. Like they had all these stories about her, and none of it added up to anything really. None of it added up to anything, and good for her. That's what happens. But yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed this. There's still some more stuff I want to talk about, but it's almost like 3 hours. I think people are probably getting ready to tap out, so I think we've covered enough. The other stuff I wanted to talk about, I'll just save for another day, because again, it's been 3 hours, and on top of that, I'll have to rush through it to get it. But yeah, go to comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Don't just talk in the chat, but leave a comment too. That definitely helps. All that definitely helps. Also, go to patreon.com /Champagne Sharks. Definitely go there. $5 a month, you get access to all the back bonus episodes for subscribers only. You get access to the newsletter, you get show notes, you get access to the Discord voice and chat server. And what's really good about the voice and chat server for Discord is we're going to use Discord to have call-in shows where you can use, if you're a patron and you're a member of the Discord, you'll be able to call into the show, and we're going to have themed call-in shows. It's something we're going to do. So becoming a patron is going to allow you to call into the show and to do that. So that's very cool. And the reason why we want to do it that way is I feel like it's a good screen for trolls, like, you know, to have only patrons allowed to call in. So definitely you get a lot of stuff for $5 a month. I mean, if anybody in the chat is a patron, like, you know, let people know that you enjoy it, that is worth it. You know, browbeat your fellow people in the chat that, oh yeah, see, this is what, yeah, see, Manu12, Justin Doucette, you know, a lot of people in the chat are patrons. So definitely check it out. It'll be worth your time. Let me see if there's anything else worth oh, here's one more thing I want to show. I don't know if this is going to cause I don't know if this is going to cause a copyright strike. Let's see. I think I've been lucky so far. The stream hasn't been stopped, but I'm gonna show more about the pimping. I call it pimping the mule. Like you're trying to sell the you're trying to sell the muling, you know, and this was, I thought, a very good point. Here's a tweet by oh, by the way, if you're in the Discord, like, the Sharks are in the Discord a lot, so you actually get to talk to us a lot. And another thing you get in the Discord is you get advance notice of upcoming guests, and you get a chance to ask them questions. So you get to pose questions to the guests and have your questions asked during the interview. So that's another thing. Yeah, please, people, don't spoil who the coming guests are for people who are not in the Discord. But we have some good ones coming up. I think a lot of people will like them, and you'll be slapping yourself in the face when you see them, and you know, you could have a chance to ask them questions. But anyway, one of them, a big one, we're interviewing tomorrow that I think a lot of people will be pleased with, and that we haven't had a chance to have on yet because they were always busy and on tour. So yeah, today is a good night to become a patron so that you can get in, find out who it is, and ask them your questions. But here we go. Antonio Moore had a very good tweet, and he said something that I thought was very great. He said, "No other group has had more of a concerted effort to genderize its politics like recent efforts by Black." Actually, hold on. Let me just fix that because it's not showing correctly. Hold on 1 second. Let me do that again. I effed up. Here we go. There we go. No group has had more of a concerted effort to genderize its politics like recent efforts by Black women to support the Democrats. Not Latin. It's true. They don't talk about, hey, Latin women are doing all this for the Democrats, right? They just talk about Latinos or Latinx when you talk about the articles. They don't say Asian women. They don't say whatever. But for some reason, there's this big thing about splitting up Black men and Black women. And even with whites, it's in reaction to white male control of most wealth. Can someone explain? And then here's the articles by, first off, A.M. Joy Reid, who's like a big shill herself. She never talks about anything about black women except when it's time to weaponize them for muling. Like Joy Reid has never talked about black issues except in a way it can benefit white people or to be a mule, right? But they got all these people on the BuzzFeed thing, right, on AM Joy, right, on MSNBC, to and I'm going to keep breaking this up and talking over it in hopes of not getting a copyright strike. So here we go. I'm going to play this. They brought all these different black social justice influencers on.
This isn't, as Brittany said, this is not a hostage note, but in essence, we are the canaries in the coal mine. What we are saying is our communities are not being engaged. We have not been interacting with this campaign despite having made overtures to it. And
see, so this is Alicia Garza. Notice they don't call her Black Lives Matter anymore. She's not a principal, the Black Futures Lab. And that's because black male death is not really what it was anymore as a hustle. They've all been trying to pivot into mainstream respectability politics and the Democratic Party. Now that it looks like it's not working, Biden's not really effing with them and whatever, and 2 black men recently died, one of those cases really getting traction, it might be a time to pivot back to the original hustle, you know what I'm saying? But hey, whatever. So now she's the principal of Black Futures Lab, not Black Lives Matter anymore.
And what we're seeing,
and notice you said we made overtures. So again, it's like, we've been trying, but they're trying on behalf of black women, not on behalf of black people. That's not cool anymore. We're like, what it's like is, and I've said this on the show before. You know what this type of politics is like? It's like if you are trying to get into a nightclub, but you got a friend who's a little bit funky looking, or kind of is not dressed right or whatever, and they're gonna keep you from being able to get in the club. So you kind of tell the bouncer, asks, "Yo, is that your friend?" And you're like, no, that's good because I want to get into this club, and if they're holding me back, I'm gonna leave them behind. That's kind of, I think, what a lot of this is behind. Like, maybe as black men are problematic, black men scare white people, whatever, but they want to have, like, they realize they can get in if they leave black men behind. And I think that's what these types are really like. They use black men to get their foot in the door because a lot of black male problems get a lot of press. So that's why happened with Black Lives Matter. But once they get their foot in the door, they kind of try to leave it behind until all those pivots and overtures get shut down, in which case they're going to pivot back. Some of them have already started pivoting back with Ahmaud Arbery. Someone said, are all 6 women non-FBA? And I try to get stuck on that because, we look at slave play and a lot of other stuff. Man, there are a lot of foundational Black American or ADOS people willing to coon out there too. At the end of the day, I do agree that the flag bunch does definitely have a problem with being overrepresented these days in respectability politics and cooning and stuff, but a lot of people, I think, are ready to coon as well. So hold on.
In terms of voting patterns is that black women as the backbone of the Democratic Party,
we're the mules, we will save you,
are in essence in danger of staying home. So what we saw in 2016 was that, sure, over 90% of black women who voted for the Democratic nominee. But we should also note that the number of black women who were eligible to vote dropped,
So, I'm just breaking it up, not because I have anything to say, but I just feel like I have to keep breaking it up to keep it from stopping. Is that Amanda Seals? I'm not sure. But yeah, so there's 6 black women here. No need to have black men there. Not important. Or a mix of black people. Back in the days, this would be a mix of black people, but not anymore. They kind of made it clear, and I feel like white liberals have made it clear. Okay, here's the deal. If y'all keep pressuring us, let's just give black women jobs. That's really what this comes down to.
People who actually participated dropped by about 10%. So what you're seeing is that people who can vote, right, who know what's going on, are saying, I'm just not motivated to do it. On the flip side of this.
Now, the reason why she brings up the voting turnout dropping, this is what she brings it up. Actually, you know what? I don't want to keep talking to people. Someone in the chat, why do you think she's bringing up the black turnout vote dropping? I want to see if y'all can get it. I don't want to just talk at y'all. I want to see if y'all can. I want to see who gets the answer. Why is she bringing up black turnout dropping? Is it because she wants a black issue addressed? You know, is she going to bring up? Do you think she's going to bring up an issue that is not being addressed, and that's why it's dropping? Like why do you think that is? It's not a trick question. It's not a hard answer. But what do you think she pivoted after saying, you know, we were making overtures to the campaign and whatever? Close. Maybe. She's trying to chastise black people. Well, there were these types of always trying to chastise black people. To bring up black men voting Trump, not really. Yes, she wants more black women, to get jobs. That's the answer. The other stuff wasn't wrong, but that's kind of always what they're doing. This is what that specific thing is about. That's exactly what is about. And Cannabis Sativa said this too, and I think he's making a reference to Adolph Reed. This is a great article, by the way. Everyone should look up this article and read it. We're gonna do a podcast about it. What are the drums saying, Booker? That's an Adolph Reed article. It actually talks about this, where what it's saying is like in old Tarzan movies, Tarzan would have a black person, like a native, next to him or whatever, and the natives would be playing the drums, and Tarzan or the Phantom or whoever it was in the jungle, the white person in the jungle, would tell the black native, what are the drums saying? And the black native had to tell him what the natives are up to, like, you know, like the natives are restless, like what are the drums saying? And the article is called "What Are the Drums Saying, Booker?" because it refers to Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington was one of the first people who was a Negro whisperer. So they would, you know, it's like asking Booker T. Washington, what are the drums saying? What are the black people saying? And these people are like the modern version of what Booker T. Washington was, you know, and that's really what it is. Like, she's bringing it up saying, and this, the funny thing is, it's not true. She's bringing it up saying, hey, your numbers are dropping because you're not hiring, you know, sassy blue checks like us. You're not hiring the Black Lives Matter. And that's the same hustle. But the problem is, that's the same hustle they tried on Elizabeth Warren, who fell for it. And Elizabeth Warren hired like all these people and made an ass of herself. None of it worked. Like she hired all these people from the activist class, and they were like propagandizing for her like crazy, and none of it worked. Like, that hustle is gonna have diminishing returns. The one person who's used them the least is Joe Biden, and he's the one who actually got the most black votes so far. So they're kind of scrambling. They're afraid. They realize they have nothing. Like they can't give these people anything. So that's what she's trying to threaten them with. Like, they're trying to lie to them and say you're not getting them because they realize you don't have an Amanda Seals or an Alicia Garza or Black Lives Matter in your cabinet, in your whatever. And black people in the streets, like black folk don't care about them. Nobody's losing sleep about whether Alicia Garza and Amanda Seals are getting tapped.
I think it's important for us to keep in mind, as we talk about black voters not being a monolith, that black men are voting at similar rates that black women are voting. But we should also be clear that since 2016, we have also seen a shift in voting patterns amongst black men who vote. We're not seeing black men who vote stay home. We're seeing black men who vote give their votes to a different party. And so the or what is, if you want us to turn out, and you want us to
that is ridiculous. Because first off, black men voted to the tune of like 88% for Hillary, right? They make it seem like black men were just going crazy voting for so basically, like, as opposed to like the 98 or whatever percent black women voted, black men voted like 88% for Hillary. And first off, I hate this idea that black men are obligated to vote for Hillary because she wasn't offering shit to them. You know, like this idea that being black is to be a Democrat. You know, like she didn't offer anything to them. It was well within their right not to vote for her or whatever. But yeah, she did throw it on the bus. That was always coming, you know. But I was just saying that particular part wasn't about that, right? But she made sure to make sure, like, don't hire black men, hire us, and this is why. But listen to this: black men were the second highest group. In what other area or discussion does the second highest voting group get treated like white freaking women voted for this guy with 20 rape cases and who was caught on tape talking about grabbing by the pussy to the tune of like 50-something%? Why didn't she chastise them? She's not going to go on MS motherfucking NBC and chastise good white women who might be able to get her jobs. Black men can't do anything to her. And she doesn't consider herself, these women don't consider themselves in competition with white women yet. They're not ready for prime time with that yet. Right now, they're just promising to mule for white women. Like, look at this articles and stuff these people write to white women. Like, you have stuff like Juliana Maxwell saying, oh, white women, you winning can be a win for all women. You know, just make sure to bring us along with you, give us a seat at the table. You know, you guys are doing great. You just need to hire us. You guys voted 53%, but, you know, we still know that white women are where it's at. Like, they don't talk about white women like this who are way worse when it comes to voting for Trump. You know, because they kind of need to be their mules and do like the whole help thing. Same thing with Latino voters and stuff. A lot of Latinos, despite him having actively anti Latino policies, you know. So yeah, it's like it's really ridiculous. And they were in the high 80%. I think it might have been 88% that voted Hillary and stuff. And it's like, and B. Scott made a great point. He's like, no one talks about the electoral college, about the white women, about the Latinos, whatever. Talk about the black men. And in any other universe, if this was so important to vote, if voting Democrat and voting Hillary is like these black women are saying, saving America, you would think the people who voted only who voted 88% and were the second highest group, and not by like a minor margin. It wasn't like there was another group that was 84% or 82%. You know, it was like they were like the second highest by like far. Like third was really like far behind. You would think they'd be getting credit for being like second place in supposedly saving America. And she gave a token like prop, but it was really just to set up the kick in the ass, because they view black men as competition for the job. They view black men as competition for getting in the club, you know, and they know that white liberals are more comfortable working with these types anyway. So, and let's see.
Show up to save the moral center of this country once again. You have to work hard for Black communities and of this country once again. You have
hold on. I want to repeat that part, because she also gave like the same moralistic save this country argument.
If you want us to turn out and you want us to show up to save the moral center of this country,
why is that our job to be? And that's that thing I talk about, what Black people are to white people. They view us as their conscience, their Jiminy Crickets, their emotional support dogs, their whatever. Like, and these people feed into that toxic expectation. Like, you know, why is that our job? Why is that our job? You know. Someone convinced me where a third world dictator with 80% of the vote will be chastised by the USA for rigging the election. So yeah, we voted to the rate of like third world election rigged votes for Hillary, and we're getting treated like we're the new MAGA. You know, it's crazy. Jamel Hill did a story about that, where she went to a thing and Black men were voting for Trump, and somebody said, I was at that event. It was just like two weird black guys, and everybody chased them out and called them names. Like there wasn't this big thing. There were other black people, including black men, there who were bashing them, you know. But Jamel Hill wrote the story. Jamel Hill wrote the story. It made it seem like there's this upsurge of black men voting for Trump. It was pretty funny, especially when it ended up being called out by people who were actually there, and they're like, "Why did she even write it like that? That's just so weird." And just to give you an idea how this doesn't really work, I'm gonna close it out because there's enough of that. But they did a whole story where they asked like 6 or 7 black women to write about, you know, why Biden needs black women. You know, I just thought it was crazy that, because, you know, black men are just doing great, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's all about the grift for the job. But this is what happened when Elizabeth Warren bought into this strategy. Elizabeth Warren has one black activist. She's losing the black vote. She earned coveted, and this is in the New York Times, she earned coveted endorsements and released racial justice plans that scholars agree could make a real difference. That hasn't meant much on the ground, you know, as by Asted W. Herndon. And, you know, she brought all the social justice influencers. She brought all this stuff. And the audience was like 1%, 2% black. And I know somebody, and look who's in the article. This is the best part. Alicia Garza, the one who was just in that speech, chastising Biden, like saying that she made overtures. So Alicia Garza is making her rounds. She helped tank and mislead Elizabeth Warren's campaign, and now she's chastising the Democrat that was running against Warren, who got way more of the black vote without her even being there, had no need for her. She's chastising Biden for not hiring her. Why would Biden hire you when your opposition had you and I was able to trounce you? The one thing that you say you can do, I was able to do without you. And not only was able to do it without you, the person that you promised before me to do it to came in like 4th with black people, got like nothing. I think freaking maybe Pete Buttigieg was doing better in some places with black women than her. And Elizabeth Warren was chock full of these types of people. Let me enlarge the article. You know, so here, Alicia Garza, we are really focused on who is going to advance the best policies that will transform the lives of black people across the country, said Alicia Garza, the activist and founder of the Black to the Future Action Fund, a political group that recently endorsed Ms. Warren, a Massachusetts senator. And again, notice she doesn't say Black Lives Matter anymore, because that's still kind of thought of as the black male thing. She kind of, I think, wants to downplay that, you know. And she ends up she lost decisively among Latino voters, and in South Carolina, she will finish 4th and 5th in the state. You know, so basically, the one state that had a lot of black voters, this is South Carolina, is where they could have really demonstrated their pull. And Elizabeth Warren, who they were all these people were behind, they all went for her. She came in 4th or 5th, and they put this part. It said, the schism is a distinction that some have labeled grass tops versus the grassroots, or the belief that leaders of liberal and progressive organizations have a different political lens than the more working class members. And it adds, Miss Warren did a great job of galvanizing internet savvy, well-known personalities. Those are the people down Champion Sharks we call social justice influencers. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that support is translated into populations on the ground, Mr. Calloway said. There are signs Miss Warren's campaign long knew was in trouble in the South among black voters. Last year, according to multiple people familiar with discussions, Ms. Warren's team called around to experienced South Carolina operatives hoping to add experience and in adult in the room to black outreach operations they admitted was inadequate. So she they knew that they had this problem, but the problem is because I guess they didn't know any better, they tried to get these types to do it. And of course, these people just collected checks, collected speaking things. I knew a guy who was on the ground in Texas who was an activist in the black community. He was grassroots. He wasn't grass tops. These types of grass tops. He was actually a grassroots person. And the national campaign, which is full of black blue checks and climbers and buy-ins, not sellouts, buy-ins, because you have to believe in something to be a sellout. We're trying to keep sending people down there to speak locally. And this guy was telling the white people in his local office, listen, the black people they're sending, the people in our community don't fuck with them. And he was trying to turn them away. They're trying to send people like Jamila Lemieux and stuff to speak at the HBCU. And the guy was telling them, look, don't let National's like buddy with all these people. They have a mutual admiration society. They're all trying to get speaking fees and gigs and exposure for each other and stuff. They're just going to bust out the campaign and then move on somewhere else, which is what they're actually doing. You see it right here. You see Alicia Garza doing just that. Alicia Garza and all these people, after they finish busting out Warren's campaign, they're trying to guilt and browbeat Joe Biden into doing this. And Joe Biden did fine with just using a black man, Obama, and his association with him to get in. He doesn't need these types, right? But they didn't listen, and they allowed Jamila Lemieux to come down. And at an HBCU, her event got 10 people, and I saw pictures of it. But she got her check. They got exposure. They drive Elizabeth Warren's campaign to the ground. Then they move on to the next one. But the problem is with the lie or crying wolf or whatever, you get diminishing returns, and that's the kind of problem. I think these people are kind of getting diminishing returns. But the story, the article by Adolph Reed, What Are the Drums Saying, Booker, talked about just this: professional black leaders with no constituency. These people have no people on the ground. You don't go to the beauty shop or the barber shop and they're talking about Alicia Garza. They don't know who that is, with a septum ring and everything. They don't know. Really, for them, just being on TV and getting foundation money is winning the game for them, and that's very true. So yeah, just want to end it there. Everybody on the way out, that's it for us today. Hit the like button. Go to patreon.com. Comment, like, subscribe. Always do that. Email us at champagnesharks@gmail.com. Definitely do that. champagnesharks@gmail.com. And share this too. Share this with your friends. Share it around. Also, go to we said this before, but just want to end it on that. Go to patreon.com, Champagne Sharks. And also, for people who like Twitch, we're on Twitch too. Most of our conversations from YouTube people, but I'd love to get more people on Twitch. So the reason I like Twitch is because they're way more lax with the copyright strikes, and I want to start doing music episodes and stuff. I might even start doing just Twitch only episodes, because there's some episodes I want to do that I know off the bat it's not even worth trying to do them on YouTube. It'll get copyright struck right off the bat. So also at patreon.com/Champagne Sharks, $5 a month. You will also get chances to check out our coming guests, and we have some really good ones coming up, and you'll get a chance to give us questions to ask them. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks Dylan Gray. Thanks Justin Doucette. Thanks Jamal S, Cannabis Sativa, Mana 12, 2008 B Scott. We had so many people, man. I can't even name them all. This was a good night. We had at some point we had almost 70 people up in here, which is good. So yeah, share with your friends, tell them too. And everybody, be good, man. Love y'all. Peace.